Okay then. Alright. Also, yeah, you might have noticed my voice sounds a bit off. That's because I just had surgery a little while ago and I'm recovering. And my mouth is horribly swollen. So I hope you understand me. Okay. Let's just make sure this stuff's on too. Alright, let's see. Okay, let's just give it 1 second. Alright, so yeah, that isn't on. Okay, I'll figure out closed caption some other time because this should be working, right? Huh? Well, all right. Let me see if I can fix that real fast. Huh? Well, I guess I'll figure that out some other time then. Okay, so we should probably start this. No. All right. Let's just make sure this happens. All right. Oh, also, if anyone's here, do you mind telling me about the audio levels? Without hurting long. So I'm probably gonna be talking a bit quieter today. The next morning, Jacobus stood alone in the den by the billiards table. He appeared rather agitated. His face was twisted into a frown, his pointer finger tapping restlessly against the hard surface of the table. Evidently no longer able to stay in one place, he paced a circle around the table, then swiped up a rack and a cue, setting up a game of 9-ball. I'm not intimately familiar with the ways by which men entertain themselves, but in truth, I was bewitched by the sight of him leaning over the table. It almost seemed as though a steel rod ran straight from his shoulder to the tip of the outstretched finger, upon which the cue was secured by another finger looped over it. With a smooth, flowing motion, he thrust the cue forward slightly, pulling it back and repeating the process once more. Before ramming it into the cue balls, sending it rolling into the diamond of colored balls. A chorus of clicks and clacks emanated from the center of the room. Balls collided with one another, ricocheting off the cushioned walls, a few landing in the pockets situated around the edge of the table. Jacopo appeared to have come. Hey, Pixel! Yeah. So have you read Fata Morgana before, or would you like a little one-to-one me? Oh, thanks. You don't have to rush for it. Yeah, if you want, I can give you a bit of a rundown of what's happened so far, if you need it. Also, this music is such a banger, right? Okay, okay. Oh, one thing, I gotta fix it because chat's just in the middle here, and I swear it was here. Okay. Yeah, that should be good. Yeah. I just realized I'd been messing around with it for something else we were planning. Hey, Evie, how's your both your days been going? I'm just gonna give Pixel a bit of a rundown what's been happening here. So this whole thing started with crucifixion, and it was so horrible that a person's soul just shattered, and then we find ourselves waking up. Like we need to get back to someone, and we find ourselves waking up in a long abandoned mansion, and there's a maid there, and she's surprised we don't remember who we are, and why we're here. And so she's showing us tales from the mansion's past to try to get us to remember why and why we're here and who we are. She's slightly creepy and she's been here for way too long. And yeah, so we've had a couple stories so far. One where rich family in England, their youngest son ends up like stuff happens. There's a lot, the murder, horrible tragedy, different kinds of things, and currently we're essentially in uh, like late 1800s America. They're building the railway. We are yeah. White hair girl keeps reincarnating. She keeps being showing up to this mansion as well as another person. So there's that going on. She's never at fault, but she is. There's so much going on, so it's hard to explain it all. I am putting this stuff on YouTube for anyone who wants to catch up or get the game yourself, because this shit's fantastic. Nah. Oh, hey Ricky. I think this has technically become my most successful stream by now. Or at least my second. No, that Ultra stream popped off of it. Yeah, and now we're dealing with Jacopo, who is like the most awful man ever. His introduction starts with huge, horrible, like being a huge rich asshole, huge nationalism, capitalism, racism, a whole bunch of misogyny, just being a general jerkass. He sucks so bad. Jacopo appeared to merely accomplish this with a little trouble. But imagine merely striking the cue ball with the stick would be rather difficult for someone inexperienced. And the maid doesn't like him. And the maid didn't even talk shit about Yukimasa. And Yukimasa literally tortured and killed a whole bunch of people. He's somehow less likable than Yukimasa. It's unbelievable. But despite his accomplishment, it seemed to only exasperate his agitation. Lousy positioning, he muttered, though I hadn't the faintest idea what he was talking about. Also, it's good to note the narrator is specifically the maid, unless we get weird asides where we're learning stuff that she isn't showing us. So it is her opinions when she's talking. So there's a character behind that. What should have been the game for his enjoyment? He went about with a constant look of aspiration. I suspect he was using it as a way to blow off steam. And as a result, the tension in the air was palpable. I felt it would be improper to intrude upon him, even considering my distaste for the man. There was an undeniable beauty in every motion he made, every perfect audible clack of billiard balls bouncing off one another. It was an enchanting sight. But then someone with the slightest regard or appreciation for beauty came marching in a hammer to shatter the lake glass. Gotta say, that was pretty impressive. A man leaned against the frame of the open door. He was neither a resident nor a worker of the mansion. The man's face was covered in scraggly stubble, his body draped in the grime-caked garments. His eyes were sunken so deep it was as though I was looking at a fleshless skull. there was a feral glimmer in them. Needless to say, he was not prim and proper. How long have you been there? Not long, man. But man, I can't help laughing. You were completely in your own world there. What do you want? And why didn't you send a maid for me? Don't be such a hard ass. We ain't strangers. Man, why should family have to go through maids to see you? That just ain't right, brother. Your door should always be open for family. Enough. I am not your family. We're bound by something even stronger than blood. By our family, or Casca. Nah. Don't you ever bring up the Casca when it's in your interest. Oh, scary. Come on now, what happened to you, little Jack? Where did the little boy who used to call me Uncle Tommy go? Don't you dare use that godforsaken name. Get the hell out of my sight. What in God's name are you doing here? Yo, Mosca! Welcome to stream again. The man hails from the same country as Jacopo, which is obviously Italy. And, like, they continue to try to hide it, but it's like, we know the first place was England, we know we went to Spain, we know this is America. Still not quite sure what they're doing there. The best I can think of is still that, it's just their way to try to get you to think of the time and the era, to like put it together in your own head and like to focus on that. Oh yeah, the pasta scene. They had a peculiar relationship, though they were not blood related. He referred to Jacopo's family. They came from a sunny island of the Mediterranean Sea, a place of many unique customs, and an entire underground society. Casca was a word then originated from and referred to those underworld families. It would be another 30 or so years before organizations like theirs received much public attention. At the time, they were not widely known. Just a short step into the future, they would grow so powerful that the very mention of them would send a chill through the room. Yeah. He was obviously in the mob. And then... Hey now, that's no way to talk to fellow Berzati. You're on the short list to become the next capo familia. We respect our brothers. That's how we operate. Also, once again, sorry to anyone for whenever I butcher words, because I do that often. But if you tell me to try to fix it, I will. I could go home and say you threw me out of your house. How'd you like those rumors to spread? The soon-to-be capo familia won't even listen to a little request. I very much doubt anything you said could damage my reputation. I ain't been exiled yet, and as long as I'm still one of them, they won't ignore me. Oh, that's some mighty fine-looking whiskey you got there. Don't you mind if I do? Nothing here's for you to drink. Booze is my lifeblood, man. No love for a brother. You worthless leech. I sure won't be long before you find yourself in exile. Also, this guy, the one that I'm like just scrolling my mouse over a bunch, the absolute worst. Fucking hate him. His face mocks me. If you're lucky enough to get off the hook with just exile, that is. A child could snap that scrawny neck of yours. Literally introduced by saying it's fine that people are dying making the cross-continental railroad. We have so many extra blacks and yellows. Literally the most garbage human being. Oh my god, I hate him. If I'm gonna go, I'd rather be tied up, tortured for days, covered in tiny little cuts from head to toe. You sick bastard. You disgust me. Call me a carnal adventurer. I despise the mundane. Okay, Tommaso, definitely an M. Last thing I want to go out for is like a wet fart. Is this what you came for? To waste my time with your insipid nonsense? Oh, hardly. Surely you have an idea what I'm here for, and how much I need. You damn maggot. A worthless leech, a sick bastard, and a damn maggot. What other names you got up your sleeve for me? You son of a... Do you honestly think this is how you ask for a favor? Oops, excuse me, I beg of thee, O esteemed future capo familia. I'm bone broke, not even enough money to put bread on the table. Could you spare a little for a brother? You brought this on yourself, I'm sure. I hear more than enough stories about you, and hardly any of them pleasant. Drinking, gambling, debauchery. I'm humiliated in the same cask as you. You want to make money playing, you gotta learn the game first. Says the worm who played himself into oblivion. Now, do you honestly believe I'll give you anything? Oh, but you will. You got no choice. Costco rules. You're required to help family. Especially considering how few of us there are stranded on this colossal landmass. You won't even notice the money missing. It ain't because you can't, but because you don't wanna. But Jacobo being a tight ass does nothing for you. Me coming to you for help keeps your good name clean. That's the thing about being boss. You cause to keep little shits like me out of trouble. So the trouble don't come back raining back on you. You don't seem to understand your place. Rather than lecturing me, you should be on your hands and knees begging and crying for my help. If that's what you want, I'll gladly comply. Happy to kiss your boots while I'm at it. Don't even think about it. Know this, there won't be a second time. I will be reporting your conduct back to the family, back home. I will look forward to seeing how they deal with you. Just try to have a little mercy, would you? Hey, is there a maid around? It doesn't matter who. And here's our maid, looking just as nice as ever. How may I serve you, master? Get a single stack from the safe. Here's the key. It goes without saying, but don't touch anything else. Give the money to the man as you're escorting him out the door. As you wish. Is that all you need? Yes, now get to it. Very well. Excuse me. Very well. That's one look of her maid you got there. But there's something, I don't know, eerie, strange about her. Fancy that, we agree on something. How long has she been working here? Couldn't tell you. As I recall, she came with the house. Is that the kind of woman you fancy? A gal you can't read will always be interesting. Is that so? Now that he mentions it, how old is that woman? Though I suppose it doesn't much matter. Oh yeah, Jacobo. One other thing I want to talk to you about. What is it this time? If it's more your bladder, I will shoot you dead where you stand. Nah, no need for threats. This one's about your, better half. What about my wife? Well, to put it simply, yeah. She came to me asking for advice, looking a little distressed. My wife asked you for advice? Yep. From the sounds of it, you're pretty rough on the little lady. That just ain't right, man. You may have to snag yourself a broad that pretty, you ought to treat her at least a little better, you know? She looks good with a smile, you gotta make her show it to you every once in a while. Why would she come to you about that? Don't ask me, maybe she ain't got no one else to talk to? And you know, for what it's worth, I'm part of the same Costco. Guessing she thought I'd get through to you easier? Really, you just had to put a little more thought into how you act around her and she'll be smiling for you like always. Oh yeah, got just the thing. Women love this stuff. I'm sure she'll be thrilled. Is that perfume? Haven't you heard? Everyone's talking about it. Big fan of the stuff too. Smells great. Pretty girl smiles at you wearing some of this and any man will fall in love in an instant. You've never given nothing fashionable before, have you? May look just like scented water, but you can't let that fool you. Go on, give it her. Like a nice smelling lady too, don't you? A little bit of scent can give a different flavor to your nighttime excitement. Vanilla? Well, at least it's in my piece, so I'll be taking my leave. Don't wait, I want to keep your maid waiting too long and get her on her bad side. Hold on, Tommaso. Why would she... Make it last. That's all the advice your Uncle Tommy has for you. Ciao. Wait, Tommaso. Also, I'm really seeing all my voices sound even more the same that my teeth have been plucked out. I could go after him. It would be a simple task to catch him, to grab him by the neck, make him tell me. Tell me where he spoke with her and what she told him. But why? Why will my legs not move? Asking him for advice? Fashionable perfume? Her smile? She looks good with a smile. She'll be smiling for you like always? That can't be. She hardly ever smiles around me. But she'll smile for him? Last night, when she was short of breath, having such a grand time wearing that perfume, getting ready to leave the house. Just who was that smile for? God damn it. Don't you think I'll let you run free any longer? So now we start to see a bit of what Jacopo's like, and oh no, it's just extreme insecurity and jealousy. Even more of a shit. His eyebrows were furrowed, creating deep creases on his forehead. Several servants stood off to the side, watching their master attentively as he sauntered past them down the corridor. However, no one said a word to him. Had I not been preoccupied attending to his countrymen, I likely could have prevented it. The look on his face would have made it obvious something bad was about to happen, something that would serve only to further her misfortune. She was already in a less than ideal situation, and was perched on the edge of a hill, soon to begin rolling down into even worse territory. Jacopo? What's the matter? If you want to visit, you could have said something rather than coming in without knocking. Is that really necessary? Pardon? Is there something you so desperately want to keep from me that I must knock before entering? That I should have to let you know in advance I'm coming? What are you? Well, is there? You went to talk to him behind my back, I'm told. What'd you tell him? You moaned to him about my behavior? You told him I'm rough with you? You cried on his shoulder because I'm not nice enough? Him, of all people? Wait, Jacopo. You're mistaken, let me... Silence, not a word, not a single godforsaken word. The only thing that comes out of your mouth is excuses, lies, and fabrication. You put on this sweet, innocent little girl act, but what's really going on through your head? Maybe I should just rip that mask off your face. Stop, Jacopo. You look down on me, your nobility, and I'm just a nobody who married into it. No, stop, let go of me, please. When did it start? How long have you been seeing him? Who else have you been seeing? Covering yourself in fashionable perfume and smiling even though you'll never smile around me? Oh my god, I hate him so much. Please let me go. I can see it in your eyes, he's just a worthless commoner. Why would you think that? Why will you just not listen to me? Silence, it's all your fault, every last thing. I tell you not to leave the house, but you do. I tell you to do as I say, but you ignore me. Every last thing you do drives me mad. I don't have time for it. Why do you not do as I say? Do you not have enough already, huh? Will you not be satisfied until you've even taken even my arms and legs? I've given you money, clothing, everything. You have an incredible life. Look around you, that life of luxury you and your parents wanted, it's right here. You have it. What more could you possibly want? Why do you insist on being unfaithful? Unfaithful? You think what I'm doing is unfaithful to you? How else should I describe it? You leave your room despite my ordering you not to? I don't think I didn't know. When you came to the den the other day, you had your eyes on the other men. No, I did not. I had no such inclination. Enough, not another word from you. I have no interest in your excuses. If that's how you're going to act, then say goodbye to your freedom. You're forbidden from leaving the mansion or your room for that matter, or even speaking to the servants. Oh, and I know what I'll do. I'll make you a new room. Too many people come in and out of this one. It'll be somewhere quieter, out of the way. You like the garden. How about I put it there? If you leave that room without my permission, this time, I'll kill you. Why will you not listen to me? Jacopo, the master of the house, likely loved the white-haired girl. Uh-huh. That's what I saw in their exchange. Normally, love is supposed to be a sweet, warm, wonderful emotion. It makes you care for and value that person even more than yourself. But it was the exact opposite for him. I never knew that love could be such a painful thing. How did his love end up so twisted? What did he expect to happen by confining and abusing the woman he loved? Perhaps he was conscious of that. To be human is to sometimes find oneself driven by uncontrollable internal impulses. A few days later, Jacopo dragged the white-haired girl from her chamber and led her outside. The garden she had once loved was now just a thing of the past. It had become a dreary space, nary a rose in the sight. Being taken there did nothing to improve her mood, only sadden her further. The cold, grey piles of metal freckling the barren earth seemed to mock her. Her husband led her, the lady of the house, to a shed that had been repurposed into a Spartan living area. She begged and pleaded, but Jacopo would not have it. He shoved her into the sad little shack and locked the door. So things got a lot worse, a lot fast, really fast. How did things end up this way? All I wanted was to go back to the way things used to be, for us to be able to smile around each other. It had been several days since Jacopo had locked her in the shed. and her day-to-day life was only growing more arduous. She was under constant surveillance. The door was only unlocked to deliver her meals 3 times a day. And despite what an unfortunate situation their employer's wife found herself in, maids chattered and gossiped and giggled freely. Yeah, this is just a very well done in pretty much our way, from narratively to like the specifics of the writing to the art. The art is fucking gorgeous, and pretty much every time we've heard a new track, everyone's been like, "Oh shit, that's a banger," because they're all bangers, and we have like 50 other bangers to go before over. Not even the shadows out of her presence, the tactless young maidservants whispered directly to the white-haired girl when they brought her meals. "Look at you, madam, caged away like cattle." I could almost hear the sounds of cracks forming in her heart. Imagine she had gone to the point where she was having difficulty merely holding herself together. She had done nothing wrong, and yet she was forced to live this life of insults and mockery, of ridicule. The only reason her tenuously held together spirit did not completely shatter was because she still had her one and only ally. The maid Maria volunteered to attend to the white-haired girl. Maria took over the duty of delivering her 3 meals, meaning the other maids stopped coming by. And that relieved the white-haired girl's mental and emotional stress considerably. Maria became her sole conversation partner, her sole companion. She did not leave as soon as meals were finished, instead remaining in the shed with the white-haired girl for some time. So, madam, how about a funny story? I flubbed up pretty hard the other day. You want to hear about that? So a couple of days back, I didn't get enough sleep from the previous night, right? Helping out in the kitchen, half awake, plating up some food. When I go to bring out the gas, my heart about leaps out of my mouth. Guess why? What I thought was a plate was actually an ashtray. Man, I was sweating like a pig. The guests didn't seem to notice, but the other maids were pale as ghosts the entire time. I got quite the tongue lashing and clean up. Pretty funny, huh? Oh, did you? That sounds like it was a pretty bad day. Yeah. Hey, madam? I know there's not much point telling you to cheer up right now, but I'm sure he won't keep you locked up forever. He's just a bit crabby for now. It'll be alright. Although, I guess this is a bit drastic for temper tantrum. That's a big change from trying to convince her to go for a divorce just a couple of days ago. Also from dancing and big, huge innuendo. I'm sorry, madam. I thought I could be of some help, but I guess I'm not doing a great job of that. Of course not, Maria. You absolutely are. Just your being here takes a great weight off my shoulders. Still, though, I feel so worthless. Because I'm just a maid, I can't set you free. It's okay. I'm used to being imprisoned. If you remember, the first time the white-haired girl showed up in the first store with, Mel and Nellie and, Rose Manor, she told the story about a lady who was trapped chained in in a room and like only able to send letters. So, like, there's some parallels there. Also, like there was characters were having flashbacks to a time where someone died while chained up as well. So, flashbacks of not their life either. What do you mean you're used to it? You never locked your door before. Ah, you're right. I'm not sure why, but I feel as though I've been in a similar predicament before, lacking freedom and contact with others for a long stretch of time. I'm sure it's simply exhaustion getting to you, man. No one should ever be used to living like this. Yeah, I agree. I pray things go back to the way they were soon. Yeah, he was an asshole, but he was never violent before this. He just relied on the violence of the status quo and his ability and privilege to force people to die for money for him. Yeah, what a hero. Getting mad? Yeah, when he yells, you yell back. Let him know he's in the wrong. Never considered doing that? I guess you're not one to get angry, madam. Which would mean you're a better fit for the Holy Mother than me. I think it was last stream that we also mentioned that every time the white-haired girl showed up, that she's been like almost too idealized of a person, like, in like, from a religious sense of like never doing it wrong, never holding. It's actually, and that like led to so many problems here because she doesn't let herself be human in a lot of ways. Oh no, I do sometimes want to get angry. To tell you the truth, it's almost always going through my mind. Yeah, it's honestly distressing how little worth she puts on herself in pretty much all of it. All three of the stories so far. If I did raise my voice, perhaps he would listen to what I had to say. When I'm standing there in front of him, he starts shouting at me. I freeze up and end up not saying a word. I'm just such a pitiful woman. Everything about me. When I need to speak up most, to stand up for myself, I cannot. Oh, don't look so down. That's not a bad thing, it's just got you in a little bit of a pickle right now. But I'll clear everything up with him, you hear me? In my mind, your modesty is a virtue. And the more I think about it, I can't even imagine you screaming. I like you the better the way you are, reserved and ladylike. She didn't even scream as Yukimasa was threatening to kill her. You can leave all the yelling to me. I'll do whatever I can to help you, madam. Were you able to clear up his confusion about the night when we were dancing? Oh, about that. Sorry, he just wouldn't hear it. I see. But I'm not throwing in the towel. I'll keep trying as long as it takes. So, say, Maria, could I perhaps ask another favor? Oh yeah, sure, let me have it. I would like to write him a letter. A letter? To someone who lives in the same house? Yes. As things stand, I cannot simply go visit him on a whim. And I feel as though I could calmly express on paper things I'm unable to say to him face to face. I suspect I might have more luck that way. I also believe he'd be more likely to maintain his composure reading through my thoughts on a letter than hearing them from my mouth. With this, I can clear up all the confusion, and things can go back to the way they were. A letter, huh? Interesting. I'll write the letter, which I would like you to deliver to him. May I ask that of you? Absolutely, not a problem. Thank you, Maria. You're the only person I can count on, and I mean that. Why? How did this happen? Why would she betray me? I want to give her a decently happy life. I didn't want to get violent with her. Yet when I saw her face, when I heard what she had to say, I couldn't restrain myself. I guess what it comes down to is that no matter how you dress it up, I'm still Berzati. There was never any way for this bloodline to give that girl happiness. No! You're just awful! God damn it. Why am I fretting over this nonsense? And I'm supposed to be the future head, huh? An illusion. But they're dancing. They really are. And it looks like they're having a wonderful time. Are you sure it's an illusion and not something else? To me, it does not seem to be. I cannot see it as anything but two tiny people dancing. That's how it works. Reach out your hand and try to grab to them. You won't be able to. Ah, you're right. That's a shame. I didn't think you actually would. It's the most precious thing. They look as though they're dancing on top of my palm. It's almost frightening how much innocence rests within those hands. It's as if they've been completely cut off from all the world's fit. My hands, however, are soaked in blood. I fear that bringing her into my world may taint her. Am I capable of protecting this woman's purity? And yet, as I watched her so joyously playing, I felt as though I had gotten close to her. I was the one being a child that day. Jacobo, it's me, Maria. Is it alright if you come in? Ah, Maria. It's fine, come in. Alrighty. Color me surprised. Didn't think you'd let me in. Have I ever denied you access to my room? No, but you've been looking pretty glum lately. I've never exactly been a cheery man. True enough. I know you told me before not to talk about your wife, but I'm going to stick my nose where it doesn't belong today. There's been a lot of chatter among the maids lately with you getting rough with her. I mean, you got the poor thing locked up in a shed outside. You're not leaving the best impression on anyone. You here to box my ears? I don't know, 50-50? The other half is, I'm concerned about you. I know you're not the kind of man to threaten someone without a good reason. You're not. I thought you were friends with her. I am. And it hurts seeing her in so much pain. Then why has that not changed the way you act around me? I would think you'd be scorning me with the rest of the maids. Oh, I see how it is. You don't trust me. And we've known each other for so long. This isn't a question of whose side I'm on. You're in pain too, I can see that. You're always bottling things up, kept them hidden. You're too proud to rely on others. But you should probably vent onto someone before it reaches the point where you can no longer can. Say, Jacopo, do you remember the promise we made a while back? How far back? Back when you were still shorter than me. You were 14 and I was 12. I had to leave town, you came to see me off. Quite frankly, I didn't think you'd come. I was surprised, even if I didn't show it. Na, 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 na. Jacopo? Where's your dad? Or are you here alone? You didn't even tell me. There's no reason you had to leave town. My old man says Campanellas have more power. I should be the one leaving. It's not that simple. Grown-ups have a lot to consider. So don't give me that look, Jacopo. We were kids, but we both kind of start to catch on to the situation with our families and to the bonds that land held on us. Although we didn't know any of the details at the time. My grandpa owned all the land the city was built on, but he's a very conservative man. He then tried to spread his influence instead of opting to fortify what he already had. I don't know exactly when it first started, but the organizations were used to administrate cities. And when we were kids, my dad was capo familia, and my grandpa his consigliere. But just because he was an advisor didn't mean he was powerless. While my dad made the decisions, my grandpa was the only one allowed to fight him on them. Your father was capodecina that served under my dad. He wasn't especially happy about that. But parents quarreling doesn't affect their kids. At least that's what I thought at the time, and what you probably thought too. But there's still a chance we could get caught in the crossfire, so my dad decided to send me and my mom away. Off the island to the north were some more prosperous areas. He thought by sending us there we could live our lives clean regardless of where we came from. There's no changing what's in your blood though. You could have told me. Or were you planning on leaving just without saying anything? No, it's all just decided so quickly. Why do you sound so accepting? Adults have a lot to consider, you bet they do, but you could at least let them know you're opposed to it, Maria. But no, your tail went straight between your legs as soon as you're told. You just gave them and accepted it straight away. I thought you were better than that. You think? Think I don't know that? But I'll bet my dad's the way if I stay. But I'll just be my dad's way if I stay. I'm a kid, I'm a girl, I wouldn't be any help if something happened. And I don't want to need someone to protect me. I never once thought of you as a girl. Hey, now that's mean. Oh geez, thanks, Jacopo. Now you're getting me all mushy too. If anyone could be sad here, it's me. I'm not sad. Oh really? You sure you're not actually torn up that I won't be around anymore? You're a huge crybaby after all, Jacopini. Pino. Oh, when have I ever cried? And don't call me that. I made you mad. Short fuse as ever, see? You gotta learn to keep your head. You're a man and heir to the Brizzotti family. Don't you lecture me. So pig-headed. You can at least listen to me this once before I'm gone. Hey Maria, got a little time to spare? Yeah, sure, but not much. The carriage is gonna be here soon. Do you have enough for a trip to the hill and back? Yeah, I should have time for that. Because of our families, we weren't able to get along with the other kids in the city, so we played a lot up on the top of that hill. It became kind of like our secret lair. There was an abandoned house up there. I guess an old farmhouse or something. And kids love that sort of thing, you know? We called it Casa Nostra, our home, and we pretended it was actually ours. We drew circles on the walls in chalk and used it for target practice. We bought up a bale of straw and used it to make some makeshift beds. When either of us got into fights with the parents, we'd stay the night here instead of home. In retrospect, I'm sure they knew where we were going and just let us do our thing. Oh yeah, there was one time we were playing and a huge storm rolled in, trapping us up there. It was blowing so hard I thought the house might fly away. As I recall, you were crying that night. Hey Nira, you here to see me off too? Ah, there you go, wagging your tail with that dumb look on your face. You have no idea what's going on, do you? It wasn't just the two of us who had made Casa Nostra our home base, though. There was one more, a stray black dog. I'm pretty sure it didn't actually have black fur, though. It was just really, really dirty. Of course he doesn't. He's just a stupid animal. Oh, don't talk about him like that. He's one of us. What are you planning to do about Nero? Just leave him behind? Nothing else I can do. Can't bring a dog in the carriage. Besides, you're here, so it'll be fine. You take care of Nero, alright? He doesn't like me. You're the only one who can take care of him. Maybe so, but I'm not coming back. He'll starve to death if you don't figure something out. He's a peanut around. I doubt he could win in a fight for scraps. Come on, do it for me. You said you won't be coming back. Did you mean that? Are you absolutely never returning to this town? There's no telling what may or may not happen, so it's best not to get your hopes up. Better than the pain of getting let down. Well, I've turned into quite a cynic, huh? Maybe if I'd born into a more normal family, I'd be in a room in a pile of dolls right by now, with my head in the clouds. Can't imagine you doing that, nor do I think that's normal. Well said. Hey, stop that, Nero. Quit licking me, the tickles. Maria? What is it? Come back. I don't care if you don't know when it'll be, just don't say you'll never return. No one knows how things are gonna end up. Maybe my old man will gain more power, or maybe yours will. If things continue as they are, it'll be your old man. Then down the line, I will work in service the Campanella family. And that's just fine by me. But even if that's not the future that lies ahead, I promise I will make a place for you. So Maria, question. Do you have a crush on me? What? Kidding, I'm just kidding. No need for a conniption fit, I was just playing around. Here I am trying to have a serious conversation and then you... Listen to me, I don't have any of those, those kind of feelings for you. Consider you a lifelong friend, my one and only friend. That's why I came to see you off, and that's why I'm telling you this now. Whether you're a girl or boy is irrelevant. Friendship lasts much longer than something so fanciful as romance. Am I wrong? Don't laugh, damn it, it's humiliating. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I agree completely. Yeah, we've always been on the same page, Jacopo. Maybe we did fight a lot, but there wasn't one day we didn't get through. No one else understood just how lonely he was wearing a mask for all the other kids, trying to fit into their happy little circle. We couldn't afford to be found out after all. Neither of us had any real allies. Except for each other, of course. Nope. I'm glad I got a chance to play with you. If you hadn't been there, I probably wouldn't have been bothered to care for Nero either. It was too funny watching him chase you around. You're a sick girl, Maria. So, hey, Jacopo, this place will be Casa Nostra, even after I leave, right? You won't do anything to it, will you? Of course not. This is our home. That was always the plan. Right, thanks. Though, you being all nice is kind of creepy, Jacopo. It's not going to start snowing, is it? How rude. Well, if you're going to be like that, I'm not sure I want to give it to you. Huh? Give what? A present? You shouldn't have said this sooner. Gimme. You don't have a shred to tack, do you? What's the matter? Come on, what you bring? Let me have it, soldier. Oh, Maria, consider this a temporary parting gift. I've been wanting one of these for a while. Oh, is that a cartridge? Oh, from Colt Navy? No way, did you swipe it? I'll probably catch hell for it too. Wow, this is amazing. I always want to get my hand on the real thing. This is the one hanging up in your house, isn't it? The one your dad was bragging about? They're just starting selling them this year, and it's ridiculously hard just to get your hands on one, or so I hear. Man, guns from the New World are something else, alright. Just imagine the moment the hammer comes down crashing down, the back of this sends chills down my spine. Are you sure you're a girl going crazy over a bullet cartridge? What's the big deal? I like what I like. You'll get in trouble if you don't put this back, though, won't you? Don't worry, I'll return it when you return. And I won't tell anyone I give it to you. Okay. Well, I guess I'll take you up on that, then. Thanks, Jacopo. It'll be my treasure. This goes without saying, but don't you lose it. I'm giving it to you as a symbol of our friendship. No matter how far apart we may be, or how much time may pass, or how things play out with our families, we will always be friends. The cartridge symbolizes that promise. It's a promise, Jacopo. Our families may outwardly hate each other, but I'll always be your friend, always be on your side. And don't you ever go back on those words. I swear upon this glorious cartridge, this historic land, and the names of my ancestors, I shall not make myself a liar. I trust you, Maria. We'll meet again. It may be many years from now, but that won't change a thing. Our friendship will never fade. A couple interesting things there were, they started talking about gender again, which they did constantly in pretty much all the parts for people's actions and whatnot. and like how society expects them to play roles, etc. It's been like constant, particularly in the first store. And the other thing is we're getting a continuation of the way like uh you know like consider how like Mel's like charity or like how all the ways in which the Mel helped white-haired girls originally, it all doesn't ever actually fix the problem, just makes himself feel better. And the place, or some of the things happened with Polly and Javi, considering how she gave him the chance to leave for. Uh, sorry, I'm like just. Mm. Okay, I'm. Ow. Ah, bleeding. Well, that happens. Yeah, and and here we have Jacopo, right? Uh, and like he's treating he's like, yeah, we're friends. You're one of the closest people to my life, and it's like, yeah, work for me as a maid is the place he made for in his life. That's what he did essentially. God, you were adorable back then, and short to boot. But now you've hardened so much. Yeah, it relates that sort of like fake patronizing kindness in a lot of ways, right? Where it's like it's still something. It it still is, and that can be so important for people too. But the ways they show it are all like self-serving, and it's to hide the ways and things which so could be so much better if they were willing to actually do something, right? I was flabbergasted when I next saw you. Dressed all fancy from head to toe. You become quite the smug little bastard, I thought. You sure weren't that little kid anymore. You have quite the memory. Well, yeah, I don't forget my promises. And I never forget I said I'll always be on your side. The question is, did you remember? I did. I remember every word you said that day. And as I said, I left Casa Nostra as it was. Though it's quite some distance away now. Imagine if we went back and did a little work on it, we could have it looking just like old times. And Nira? About a year after he left, he suddenly disappeared. And just for the record, I did take care of him, as you told me to. Guess he got in a fight with another stray or something. I searched, but could never find him. Oh well. It has been more than a decade. Not everything's gonna be exactly the same. You, however, haven't changed a bit from the girl you were all those years ago. Neither have you. Sure, you seem different on the outside, but at your core, I believe you haven't changed at all. Still the same old Jacopino. Could you not call me that? I have changed quite a bit, unlike you, and I'm well aware of it. Say, Jacopo, do you consider me supportive? Of everything you could have. Of course you are. You're constantly supporting me, past and present. You're proof of the existence of a kind of friendship. They can transcend gender, blood, and any other such distinctions. It's any other such distinctions, like between class. It's honestly kind of bizarre seeing you without a stick up your ass. Wow, harsh words. Come now, hear me out. You almost had me blushing there. Anyway, before you put that stick back up there, tell me something. Am I still your only ally? You are. Of everyone in this mansion, I'm the only one. Yeah. If she would at least have a little more. The madam? I didn't actually intend to treat her like that. Believe me, Jackpo, I know. I mean, from a girl's perspective, what you did was pretty awful. But hey, I'm not a girl, or according to you anyway. Ugh. I will always be on your side no matter what. God, it feels dumb being consoled. That's what I was going for. I should have never opened up to you. Hey, now's probably not the best time to bring this up, but I have a letter. A letter? Written by the madam, here. A letter from my wife, let me see it. What the hell am I reading? I was considering keeping it secret, but having seen it, I thought hiding it from you might only hurt you more, so... I thought it was best to show you. Who is this? Who is this letter for? It's as if that can't. I love you? Who is she writing to? I don't know this man. Take a deep breath, Jacopo, and listen to me. The madam's having an affair. So, I haven't changed a bit. Sorry, Mosca, your excuse me still like it it popped up right at the perfect time. I just saw it out of the corner of my eyes. Uh, I haven't changed a bit. You seriously believe that? Then I've got news for you, pal. Anyone who acts exactly the same they did in the past is doing just that, acting. Much like I do around you. Our friendship will never change. Oh, what a fucking joke. You picked the wrong girl to put your trust in, and they call you astute. Can you taste the fucking irony? Well, that just makes things easier for me. But my god, it's suffocating playing the girl. That stupidly cheerful little Ray Shansan Maria. Sickening. So remember when we were getting lesbiabs last stream, and it was really cute and really horny actually, and really forward, and we kind of were all into it. Sorry, I am so sorry for you. But there is something about that. On the other hand, the payoff is fantastic. I can't stop. God, watching him lose his cool was incredible. My sides hurt just thinking about it. You're saying you're telling me she wrote this? Who else could have written it? It's in her handwriting. Why must she continue to betray me? Has she not taken enough already? What else could she possibly want from me? I told her to stay away from my gatherings. I had the rose garden torn down. And yet still she finds other men. I warned her, told her it wouldn't happen again, that if she betrayed me one more time, I'd kill her. Yeah, she gets a bunch of new sprites. Though it seems in whatever like sort of revenge she's going for, like the white hair girl is getting crossed in the, you know, and like she could have been happier in another way, right? With the white hair girls instead of whatever this is. Maybe. Let's read some more. Also, yeah, the music continues to bang because not a single bad track yet. They all rule, every single one of them. This is a very telenovela plot. Though in general, we've been getting a lot of like we've had a lot of like overly dramatic or like fairy tale-esque or like telenovela-esque plots in it, right? They always change it just enough, or there's these certain wrinkles, but it's like these stories all feel like they should be prototypical stories, at least for a large part of them, right? And with the way the maids signed them and leaving out details as well, there's something to that there. Oh yeah. Jacopo. Out of my way, Maria. I have to talk to her. Ask her what this letter's about, who this man is. And depending on how she answers. Hold it, Jacopo. Calm down. Silence. How am I supposed to stay calm right now? Listen to me. Relax. Yeah, we've had a lot of Italian or just like stuff you feel like would be appropriate in America, though in a decently later time period than the one we are in now, right? Besides, you think she's going to tell you the truth even if you do manage to ask? Of course not. She may look all prim and proper, but that's not the real her. It definitely sounds swing. Which is a significantly later time period than this, but we'll forgive it because it sounds good. I don't think she's a bad person, but... Not a bad person? The woman who wrote this letter to another man? I agree with you there, but she's gone too far with this letter. But remember, she's your wife and the daughter of a noble. You know exactly what will happen if you lose control of yourself and do something to her. It's not gonna look good for you. She may be a nobility, but I have the Casca. We have our own way of taking care of these kind of problems. Still, it's plain as day it'll only make a bigger mess. No one else knows about this yet. Are you telling me to act like nothing's happened when she so blatantly disrespects me? Jacopo, could you let me take care of it? I'm friends with the madam, you know that. She'll listen to me. So I'll make sure to get through to her. Just how much you care about her. I couldn't ask you, it would be disgraceful. That's nothing to be ashamed of. What did I tell you? I'm on your side and you're on mine. We're in this together. You can ask me things you couldn't ask others to do. I have tight lips. Anything you ask I'll keep absolutely under wraps. Damn it. You're right. Yes, you're right. I'm well aware that I always lose myself in her presence. If I try talking to her now, I probably will do something rash, yes. I'll make sure everything works out, got it? You and the man go back to the way things used to be, so you don't have to suffer anymore. I'll take care of it. I'm the only one who understands your pain. I'm the only one who can help you out of it. Maria. Oh, don't make that face, Jacopina. Thank you, Maria. Please, let her know that even if she is seeing other men, even if she does soundly mock me for not being of noble blood, that I still love her. That I don't want to raise my hand against her. You love her? That's a riot. You're too busy chasing your stacks of paper. You don't even have what it takes to truly love a woman. I'll say though, I was surprised you lost your head that badly. Quite a little crush you got on her. You could just sit down and talk to her like a rational human being, and presto, all your problems would be solved. literally just pointing it out. But you can't even manage that, which is why you're in this predicament. Once you're convinced of something, Jacopo, you never let it go. She's too timid to speak up for herself. Sorry, madam. I got nothing against you. I just didn't expect things to go quite this far. There's no stopping now. No one got this much momentum. Also, watching a pretty girl like you break down gives me goosebumps. You're still convinced I'm the only person you can trust? Oh no, the hot lady is being mean. And horrible. Oh no. Oh yeah. She. It doesn't change the fact that in her fucking with Jackbo, she's doing it in a way that's kind of really hurting the white hair girl who has done legitimately nothing wrong, and also kind of herself. Because like, what's her life right now? How's she living it? And like, Jacopo might deserve it. In fact, he probably 100% deserves probably worse. Off with his head, but there is something that bad. Oh. Yeah, look at her new theme song, Pixel. It's pretty evil. Also, I hope you enjoy that Earl Grey. See, you can be targeting someone's asshole and you know, be right in doing so. Also, you know, sometimes violence is like good, or like, you know, basically you can't ignore status quo stuff just for actor stuff, because like both are like actions you choose to, whatever, who gives a fuck. But yeah, well, yeah, about that. Would he not take it? No, he took it. He just don't feel too bad about this, madam. He said he's too busy with work, and tossed the letter aside. I told him to make sure he writes you a reply, but he hasn't gotten around to it at all. I see. That's a shame. It kills me to see you like this, madam. I don't get why he has to be so heartless. Not even taking a little bit of time out of his day to read the letter you poured your soul into writing. Oh, by the way, like, there's nothing there. He was pushing for the white-haired girl to get into a divorce. So it was also like, it's clear that she might want to do this without involving her. but she's going to do it anyway still, right? So it's like, it's once again those conflicted feelings that we've been constantly getting. It's unacceptable. I'm sure he really is busy. He didn't throw it away, though, did he? I imagine he means to read it when he has more time. Madam, after everything he's done to you, you still think he means well? I have faith. My timing was poor, that's all. I believe in him. I believe that the day will come when he'll give me his attention again, as he did before. Madam, so could I ask you to believe with me, Maria? To have faith that he will once more show me his love? And that mine will reach him? Something tells me that it'll all work out if you pray for it. Yeah, okay, if you're fine with me praying, I'll pray. I'll get down on my knees for you, madam. I'll have faith. Thank you. I would like to write another letter. When it's complete, could I ask you to deliver to him? I'll give him as many as you want. As many as it takes you to get through to him. You really ought to learn not to be so trusting, madam. Take a real close look. She's actually monologuing here in the empty space. You'll see who it was that ground your happy little life into dust. Thank you, Maria. I'm the reincarnation of the Mother of God. Oh God, I can't hold back the laughter. This is a stage of my own creation. We didn't have enough actors, so the playwright had to take a role herself. But that only adds to the excitement. Yes, this is all my masterpiece. You're just ignorant puppets dancing to my tune. From the first shot to the last, blind to whose fingers is sitting on the trigger. Listen to me, Jacopo, and try to keep your head. I saw them, madam, meeting with another man behind your back. You know the arch in the rose garden? The far sides, out of sight from the mansion, making a perfect place to hide? I saw her back there. From the looks of it, the madam's having her meetings with one of the men who comes to your business gatherings, and they don't act like they're just friends. But just to be clear, I don't have any solid proof. So it'd be best if you didn't mention this to her yet. You wouldn't start throwing around accusations, only to find out too late it was all just a big misunderstanding. I'll get to the bottom of it, so you... I think the madam might have eyes on several men. Being a woman, you know, I can tell these things. She's giving these suggestive looks, but to whom I can't pinpoint. A lot of people come in and out of this house, after all. What, you want to keep her from leaving her room? That might be for the best. Yeah. With so much going so well, it makes me think God's on my side. They could just talk it over with one another. But they won't, and they're deeper and deeper shit for it. You're the only one I can trust, Maria, and the timing that night, my God, it was perfect. Hey, Jacopo, I could just be misreading her, but something seemed off about the madam. Like she's on the edge or something. I tried to egg her into revealing what's going on, and she let slip she might be going out somewhere tonight. She's not going out with you, is she? You were going out to survey a construction site today, right? Then I suggest you get that taken care of quickly. A dance at this time of night? Yeah, but since it's so loud, late, no loud music. All you get is a little whistling, courtesy of me. The scene we all enjoyed so much last time. But the room's too small for... We'll use the Great Hall. Wouldn't that put us in everyone else's way? He would probably complain about the noise too. No need to worry. Jack was out inspecting some factories today. After that he's got a meeting, so he'll be staying the night elsewhere. I thought you would not be back until tomorrow. And how would you know that? Don't forget that. Does my staying the night elsewhere have any effect on you? You were just waiting for this opportunity, weren't you? No, what would I possibly want you out of the house for? I'm sure you know better than anyone else. What? What is that smell? Perfume? When did you get that perfume? I have to say, you seem to be at quite the time. Look at you, you're out of breath, red as a beet. I made the right decision coming back. Where the hell were you going? I'm sorry, this is all my fault. If I hadn't asked you to dance, and me bringing the perfume only made things worse. No, you need not feel bad about anything, Maria. Everything you did was with my best interest at heart. She doesn't even suspect me in the slightest. And I was able to put that perfume to great use. The money-sucking leech Tommaso showed up at the perfect time too. I'm pretty sure that's when Jacopo started getting actively violent. A jealous man is a wonderful thing, always imagining the worst and making matters worse for it. Wow, is that you, Tommaso? It's been so long. What brings you here? Oh, looky at who it is, little Miss Campanella. They're surprised to see you singing the side of the Great Blue. Oh, you know, I've been giving Jacopo a hand. Well, color me impressed. After what happened, I wouldn't have thought you would want nothing to do with him. That was between our parents. Jacopo didn't have anything to do with him. Well, it sure be nice for all you younger generators to go through life without nothing to support that kind of powder keg. Now that's my place to talk. No need to worry yourself about any of that. So what brings you here, Tommaso? I'm a little, you know how it is. Having a bit of trouble staying afloat. Ah, I see. Did you here to beg for offerings? Pretty shameless, Tommaso. No point in having shame if it ain't making money. Toss that out with the chamber pot. Hell, it might make things easier if I just quit being human altogether. Are you that hard for cash? Unfortunately, numbers were supposed to go up. For some reason, they end up going down instead. Might be best if you kick the gambling habit. Now, that's like telling me to go off myself. I bet. So say Tommaso. Maybe I could pitch in a bit too. Oh, you mean it? That'd be a huge help. Hey, there's seriously not a scrap of shame in you. However, in exchange, I'd like you to do something for me. Someone whose face needs a visit from my fists? Depending on the number, I could possibly cut them in chunks and toss them in the ocean. Whoa, keep it clean. I'm not asking you for anything like that. What is it then? Something a little left me can do? It'll be easy. There's nothing bad either. You're going to go talk to Jacopo, aren't you? Well, there's something I'd like you to tell him while you're at it. You know he's married, right? He can get pretty nasty with his wife, though. That's so. Sounds like she's got it rough. She does, and she's religiously devoted to him, too. I've been trying to nudge things in the right direction to get her back on good terms with him, but I haven't had much luck. Ain't that something the two of them should work through? Normally, yes, but it's reached a point where I can't bear to sit back and watch it anymore. I don't like seeing the two of them in pain. I want to do something for them. How noble. You're pretty devoted yourself, little lady. I'm not important right now. Just do the right thing. But the thing is, Jack won't hear a word of it. I figured maybe you being a man might be able to get through to him a little better than me. Doubt he'll listen to me either, to be honest. Come on, you used to be really close to that. I doubt he hates you. I won't be so sure about that. Anyway, talking to something anyone can do. So what do you want me to tell him? You need to give him a bit of scolding. Tell him the madam came to you asking for advice and that she accidentally let slip that the way he treats her day to day causes her grief. I never met this wife of his before, though. You know? It works even better that way. She's so downtrodden she can't talk to anyone about it, and she thought maybe you being family might be able to help. She's never met you, but she's still latched onto the ray of hope. I'm sure when Jacobo finds out you brought it up with family, he'll know he can't keep mistreating her. Things like this, they hit harder when they come from someone from the outside. You make a decent point. Just remember, Lila, all I can do is bring it up with him. Can't guarantee he'll change anything. That's alright. All I need you to do. Thanks a bunch, Tommaso. Alright, one more thing. This is some perfume that's going quite popular recently. Ask him to give some to the madam as a gift. If you won't take it, you can keep it. Give it to another woman and sell it where you want. Perfume, eh? Very thoughtful of you. Women do like getting gifts like that. Yes, we do. If Big Bad Jacopo gives her some of that, they'll be lovebirds again before you know it. I'm sure. Never thought the day come where I got to play Cupid. Now I'm starting to get kind of excited about this. Stay focused, Tommaso, and thanks. Also, you didn't hear any of this from me. I'm fine displaying the strengths from the shadows. Their relationship's in complete shambles, and Jacopo still insists he fucking loves her. And the madam says she still believes in him. Seriously, how stupid can you be? Poor Jacopo, poor madam. Now then, let's see where the boulder rolls to next, and how far it keeps rolling. Naturally, I'll be watching it along the way. Because after all, a play lives or dies by the director's hands. Master, are you shocked? Or do you instead lament this development? I was deeply sorrowful. Though to a lesser degree by Maria's true intentions, and more by my shameful inability to recognize her machinations. At that time, I too believed that Maria was the white-haired girl's one and only ally. It was not until everything had drawn to a close that I discovered the truth. Then I now know how the tale ends, you say? Yes, that is correct. While aware that it was not the case, I told you the story in a way that suggested she was on the white-haired girl's side. Oh my, I wonder if that constitutes lying to you, Master. I merely wanted to present the events to you in order to, starting from the beginning, when Maria's ill intentions were still veiled in shadow. I wanted you to know the same feeling of consternation I had experienced. The white-haired girl continued to write letter after letter. They were all addressed to her dear husband, detailing her ever-persistent love for him, and her desire for their relationship to return to what it had once been. My beloved, I'm sure your hands are quite full right now, but that is fine. It does not change my love for you. Do you remember the day we went out together? That was perhaps the most wonderful day of my life. I had a truly incredible time. I will still treasure the gift you gave to me, for it is the one and only present I have received from you. That reminds me, Maria tried to teach me how to dance. I doubt I will ever progress beyond being laughably bad, though. It'd be nice if someday you and I could dance together. Perhaps when you have a little respite from work, we could go out again. Maybe take a carriage or somewhere a little further away. And we could dine at a restaurant more to your liking. Although I think the cuisine at the other restaurant was exquisite, personally. Do I perhaps have an unrefined palate? Maria altered letters before delivering them, however. She changed the address sheet from Jacko to another man. She would cut away the top of the page with Jacko's name on it and space below to write a different name. She could not have mimicked the white-haired girl's handwriting for the full length of the letter, but Maria could make a single name look adequately similar. And would, after all, be quite difficult to notice minor discrepancies in such a small quantity of text. Again, another letter? Why does she keep writing these? To Jacko's eye, the modified letters looked like professions of love for another man. The more she inscribed her feelings for Jacko, the greater the turmoil grew within his heart, even though her love was directed towards him. I can't believe what I'm reading. A restaurant more to your liking? I knew it. I still treasure the gift you gave to me, God's sake. You had to be fucking kidding. But I'm ensured she can't leave the room. She'll never see this man again. In time she'll let go, and so will he. So listen to me, resigning myself to hope that everything will fix itself. How did I end up like this? Such a pitiful man I've become. On the surface, Maria acted quite heartbroken at the sight of their suffering. But when she returned to her room, the walls echoed with her cackles. She derived a great deal of entertainment from their squirming. The more they writhed in anguish, the deeper her satisfaction grew. The white-haired girl had never possessed a sense of distrust, so she took everything Maria said as truth, continuing in her agony to write Jacko's letters. Letter after letter after letter. My beloved, are you still tied up with your work? It's been some time since we last saw one another, so I know not what you've been doing of late. I only hope you remain in good health. But I would, if possible, prefer to tell you everything in person, but I do not have the courage, so these letters are my only option. Am I adequately expressing my feelings, my love for you? If you have time, I would appreciate a response. You're never gonna get a response, though. Not as long as I'm intercepting them. There's no way I'm allowing these, or you're allowed to get him. I could just stop reading them. It would certainly make things easier. But if I don't, my imagination will run. Yeah, this is unnecessarily cruel. Fantasizing about her writing to this other man and what she might be putting into her correspondence. It'd be better off knowing the truth than torturing myself with fantasy. It's the better option. Jacko accepted every letter Maria delivered without fail. He would merely nod as he accepted it, his face contorted in discomfort, then pore over the text when he was alone. I assume he did not want to see his heart sinking into darkness. He must have certainly been able to realize the letters were directed at him, despite the altered recipient's name. Everything she wrote about him concerned him, after all. How could someone who had lived as isolated as her have so many identical experiences with two distinct men? Why could he not find it in himself to trust her? Perhaps doubting her was simply easier. If you were in his position, would you trust her? Would you maintain faith in her, the woman who had waited so long? Would you believe the feelings she professed for you were genuine? She continued writing letters, day after day, week after week. Without hiatus, she had, by and large, run out of things to say, but that did not put an end to her letter writing. She simply repeated what she had written before. Nevertheless, they did not see one another in person. The white-haired girl, forbidden from leaving her shed, could only wait for her husband to pay her a visit. My beloved, there's a little bit of fog out today. Weather like this reminded me of my home country. I was born on an island perpetually covered in thick fog. I'm not saying I would like to return, but thinking about it does make me feel rather homesick. Does that happen to you? That reminds me, Aside from that one time, you have not told me much of your homeland. It would be nice if we could pay it a visit sometime together. Speaking of which, before I left, an exhibition of some sort was held there. I was unable to attend, but perhaps you had a chance when it was near you. I imagine you would have with your interest in new technology. Next time you had a chance, I would enjoy hearing what they had on display. An exhibition? Ah, that's right, there was one. It was a year ago. Got quite a bit of attention, so it's supposed to have been held in Paris. I was busy preparing for a wedding. I had no time to attend an exhibition, and while I was doing that, giving you, a woman I had never met before, my full attention. You were giving yours to a different man? Has it been going on for that long? Had he simply stepped up and taken action, he could have put an end to a stream of letters, each of which gave rise to further misunderstanding. He needed merely to ask the white-haired girl in person, whom the letters were addressed, whether what they were described were true, and the twisted threads of his confusion would all have been unraveled. But he made no such effort, relying instead on Maria to serve as intermediary. While he had a great deal of pride in his capabilities, he had far less confidence in himself as a person. If he had faith in himself, perhaps he could have put faith in his wife as well. Had his pride not been so twisted, perhaps he would not have been so afraid of being hurt. Indeed, he was afraid of being rejected by her, afraid to face the reality where his beloved partner scorned him, where the woman he loved and laughed at him disdainfully, where she and countless others mocked him. The thought of it paralyzed him. The environment in which he had been raised played a significant part in his state of mind, I expect. Occasionally the name of the letter would change. Maria was making the white-haired girl ought to be having affairs with multiple other men. She could never do such a thing, of course. But Jacob, thinking Maria to be his only ally, believed everything she said. If I could figure out who this man is and where he resides, I could make him tell me every last detail about his relationship with my wife. But what if that information went public as a result? If the news of our infidelity spread, and were to reach the Casca? The fate of the Berzadis is in your hands, son. If there's a limit to what we can accomplish on this tiny island, if we don't turn intentions outward, we will wither away and die. Not just as family, the whole island will find itself famished and emaciated, defenseless against invasion as we waste away. I won't stand and watch by my homeland crumble. Sure, our methods may be crude and not always worthy of praise, but they produce undeniable results. Hey, yeah, convince yourself you're doing the good thing here. The previous Capo Familia was an incredibly reticent man, and Jacopo's just gonna apply the exact same shit to the railroad. It took all he had to merely preserve a small chunk of this world. But I'm not like that, and neither are you. The most I can do is lay the foundation to make it easier for you to work, which means everything rests on your shoulders. Both the future of the Berzadi family and the future of this country. It all falls on you. The marriage is happening too quickly. It would be madness not to hurry given the circumstances. You should be well aware of that. We need the Berzadi name climbing the social ladder in short order, or we're going to have everything ripped out from under us. If the woman isn't your liking, you can always find another one that is. She's only going to be your wife in name. But listen to me, son. You must not allow her to fool around. What are the most vital things to have in our society? Money? Power? Yes, those are important. But what matters most is respect. No one's going to follow Capo Familia they can't respect. They'll try to undermine your authority. Once someone deems you weaker than them, courtesy goes out the window, and that's just a judgment that's near impossible to overturn. Betrayal spreads like fire through a forest. And once that flame's lit, both of us are going to come crashing down. You must not let anyone look down on you. You must not let anyone think you're a kind of man a woman can walk over. If by any chance your fiancée is ever unfaithful to you, kill her before anyone finds out. Your place is above others. Climb to the top. Never be content with someone above you. Never forget the weight you carry on your shoulders. This is your responsibility. The fate of the Berzadi is in your hand. The fate of the land rests on your shoulder. Kill anyone who stands your way. Aim for the top. Poverty is the root of all evil. The fate of the Berzadi is in your hand. Seize the country. Opportunity, respect, power, poverty. Don't show weakness to others. I must keep intercepting her letters. I must keep her locked up. I still have work to do. I cannot allow anyone to learn how she disgraced me. Kill her? That's how my old man says to handle it. That's the last resort. It's not. Not yet. God damn it. It's downright wrong for me to even having these feelings for someone. Fuck. Hustle, loyalty, respect. Master, your carriage is waiting outside. Yeah, he has a very interesting contrast. Pixel, you're so right. If he just wasn't such a jealous asshole, this would be fine. Also, it would also just be totally fine if he was able to talk to his partner like a human being. And treat her like a human being. And as much as we shall not blame the white hair girl because it's legitimately not her fault in any real way whatsoever, it would be fine if she was, well, if she like had just tried to speak to him properly and voice her feelings and like not just suffer, right? And like it's about to, because if like Jacopo wouldn't change for her, right, or wouldn't fix things or thing, then shit's fucked anyway. Yes, yeah, and they mentioned it because they were saying like internal impulses that are impossible to control, and we had a lot of nature versus nurture in Yukimasa, but this is taking a very different stance from that. Talking to your wife is gay. You couldn't. I mean, in my case, it would be very gay. So, you know, yeah. Master, carriage is waiting outside. How are you coming along? Coming along? Oh, that's right. I had an inspection scheduled today. I'll be right out. Have him wait. Is something the matter, Master? You look a little hazy. I'm fine. If you're not feeling well, you should stay. I said I'm fine. It's not your job to try to infer my condition. Yes, sir. Keep it under wraps. Act normal. You can at least do that much, damn you. Take care on your trip, Master. Yeah, it's not the usual coachman. Your fault. What? That we... Hey, speak up. Die, Jacopo Berzati! Master? There's a knife. Oh god, someone, anyone. Silence, don't make a scene. Call a doctor. Yes, sir. Now I remember where I've been seeing him before. That's right, I put his factory out of business. I needed it out of the picture to expand my own business. Guess he held a grudge about that. Should have been more careful. Blood flows with surprisingly abundance from a stab wound. It's not stopping either. Son of a bitch. The world is going white. Come now. Come on now. You have to be kidding. I know very well what kind of man you are. You wouldn't hesitate to lead a blind man off a cliff if it furthered your own goals. You make money off others' lives. You stand upon a mountain of corpses, cackling at everyone below you. For a man like you, love comes as naturally as flying. Guess what? You don't have any emotions, and you never have. You have always been this way. That's a very different tone that voice took than every other one. My childhood was day after day of mockery. There's just a bunch of nobodies trying to pretend your name means anything. They would say, sneering and glaring. Maria treated me as an equal, but she was the only one. I wanted to show them up, and to do that, I had to rise to the top, or at least high enough that I could laugh at them. Weldon wasn't the only one who wanted that. I did too. I had to make them acknowledge that I had value as a man. Who actually wants to go through life being laughed at? I had to make them recognize that what I did had value. And I needed neither love nor compassion to do it. Or that's what I thought. In the beginning, I only ever intended to use that woman. I simply needed her to build a name for myself. When she served her purpose, I could simply cast her aside. That's what I thought. Or rather, that's what I endeavored to make myself think. But deep down, I felt bad for her. I pitied this woman who had been made to marry a man she had never even met before. I'm sure what she really wanted was to have a regular marriage with someone she loved. But because her family wanted to cling to their name, she wasn't afforded that opportunity. I wanted to do something for her. It didn't have to be anything grand. I genuinely wanted that. The day of her wedding was when I first saw her. Her face, partially obscured behind the veil, was gorgeous. And crucially, she was smiling at me. I'd expected to find only gloom and despondency in her eyes, but instead she smiled. The moment I saw that smile, I wanted to be a permanent part of my life. I truly did want to ensure that she always had a smile on her face. Great job, idiot. Is this my room? I'm alive? Damn it, I feel nauseous. What time is it? The world's a blur. So hot. You mustn't get up. The doctor said bacteria entered your body through the wound. Because of that, you have a very high fever. What are you doing here? I told you you'd been badly wounded, but thankfully it wasn't fatal. How did you make it out of... Pardon? Oh, I see, Maria opened it. Would you like some medicine to reduce the fever? It should help you feel better. Yes, no. Stay by my side for a little longer. Is there anything I can do for you? You can ask me anything. My hand. Your hand? Could you hold my hand? If you don't want to, that's fine. Like this? Your hand is quite cold. Probably feels that way because you have a fever. Ah. So, yes? I've done some regrettable things to you. Please forgive me. To tell you the truth, from the moment I first saw you, I felt like you were what I had been searching for my whole life. Laugh as you like. I felt like I'd finally found you. But I couldn't act around you the way I honestly felt. You should get some sleep. Could you keep holding my hand until I fall asleep? If you don't want to, that's fine. My hand is in yours. Thank you. You appear to be quite delirious, Master. Those are things you should be telling your wife, not me. Like, just stop being an asshole, so true. Of course it was. It wouldn't be that easy. And she would never come to my room. She's involved with other men. Jacobo, may I come in? I have another letter. I think I should mention, this is my least favorite door, by the way, so, yeah. It's a bit frustrating. The white-haired girl's persistent letters did not improve anything, but simply stoked the flames of misunderstanding. This continued for several months. Though outside the sun shone with the gentle warmth of spring, the cold, bitter winds of winter still relentlessly blew between Jacopo and his wife. Not allowed to leave her shed, and never receiving a reply to her letters, the white-haired girl's only source of information was Maria. Week after week, her circumstances remained the same, but something else was beginning to show signs of change. Pixel, we've been talking about a white-haired girl, but yes, every time she said her name, it's been censored out because she's appeared in multiple stories. She's appeared in the mansion back in the 1600s and the 1700s. Let me just ban this person real quick. Okay. Damn it, you're too fast. Yeah, and they've commented on the name multiple times, so the name is important. Yeah, since you're joining us a bit late, Pixel, right? all these stories are definitely interconnected in a bunch of ways we don't understand, and especially considering the framing device, where we're someone who's found ourselves to a mansion, just waking up there and not knowing who we are or why we're here, but knowing we had to look for someone. Well, all the things to pull at here. Yeah. Her mental state. It's pointless, madam. You're only wasting your time at this point. I saw him throw your letters into the fireplace. He's not going to read anything you write, no matter how much your soul you put more into it. He cares more about money and work than love. That's the kind of man he is. Just give up and file for divorce already. No. I will get through to him. Everything will go back to normal. I have faith. All my letters may go up in flame, but my faith will not be lost with them. As long as I keep writing, eventually I will get through to him. So I cannot stop. I cannot. Do you have any idea what he says about you, madam? Jacopo doesn't trust you in the slightest. He goes around calling you a witch, a man-eating devil woman. It's awful. There's no one as pure and beautiful as you. He says I'm a witch? Listen to me, madam. He never for a second actually loved you. And then there's the fact that from the maid herself, we have the story, and that this mansion is haunted by a witch from before she was here. And she's been here since the first door, at the very least. He just wanted the influence attached to your name. He wanted to mingle with the upper class. He used you. But last year, when we went out together, he gave me the Fanax wheel at the photography shop. He had the owner make it especially for me. He was just trying to win your favor. If he really cared for you, he wouldn't have gotten you a paper toy. He would have gotten you something like a ring or a necklace or some perfume or a nice dress. Something women really like. Has he ever gotten you anything like that? He doesn't have any feelings for me? I'm sorry. I just couldn't stand to see you going through this, but I don't know when to shut my fat trap. I went too far. The last thing I need to be doing is hurting you worse. You know, for everything I've said, your unwavering dedication is really impressive, madam. I now suggest you get a divorce, but to be honest, part of me kinda doesn't want you to split up. Also, keeping in constant with stories where his stuff is what ultimately dances, but it's also very interesting that all the like male focal points in these stories, the last three, Mal, Yukimasa, Jacopo, are all different, and they are not carrying over continuity. And yes, see, this is why Pixel. You want to know what the worst part is? This isn't as self-sacrificing and like as she's been before to a disturbing amount. Like in the last story, Yukimasa is a horrible serial murderer and torturer, like utterly horrific. And she stays with and accepts him even, and that was yeah. Yes, it's very jaded to a. She sees Bundy and goes, "I can fix him." Also deserving of that emote too. You made it this far. I'd like to see you make it all the way. Maybe he actually will start paying attention. Your sweetness can melt even his heart of steel. Yes, you're right. I will keep waiting, keep writing, and I will not divorce him. Yeah, alright. So please, keep delivering my letters to him. You're my only remaining connection to the outside world. Oh yes, one more thing. If it's not too much trouble... Oh well, could you tell me how he's been and what he's been doing lately? I do not have much else to write about, so I can at least relieve him some of his work-related stress. I am his wife, after all. I should be able to do that much for him. I am his wife. Her dedication to him was perhaps closer to an obsession, but she did not seem to be conscientious of the fact that her obsession was killing her. She was visibly losing weight and her spirit was breaking down. It is said emotions fade with time, but the opposite can also be true. The act of waiting or fervently believing for so many months despite the object of one's affection now returning to them can tear apart a person's heart, crush their soul, and shatter their spirit. No matter how radiant, how thick-skinned they may be, with enough time, it will wear anyone down. It is interesting because, like, while this was true in the first story as well, it seems to have progressed even further at this point, because in the first one, she went with the intention of killing the Rhodes family. It's pointless, Jacopo. Wait all you want, you won't get her back. If she's going to be writing letters, she could at least write one for you. She looks so pure, pretty as an angel. But God Almighty, is that only how she looks? You've changed a bit. What have I? The old you would be yelling and screaming, chomping at the bit to go storming in on the madam. Now you just go quiet. I'm just a little tired. You could break it off then. What? You've already made a name for yourself in high society. Nobody's gonna suddenly start ignoring you. You more than put her family name to good use. To put it in your own words, it's no longer necessary. This isn't something I really want to say, but the madam has never liked you. She was married off to a total stranger and forced to leave her home. I'm sure she felt very alone, and so she sought companionship of other men. Anyone who wasn't you probably seemed quite attracted to her. So without getting violent or threatening to kill her or anything, just end it already, quietly and without a fuss. It'll be easier for you that way. I cannot. Because you still love her? That's wonderful, Jacopo. After everything, you still love her. That's just blind, slavish devotion at this point. Perhaps it is foolish, unhealthy obsession, but I still do not wish to sever ties with her. I cannot get that image of her smile out of my head. bless your poor MB heart, Mosca. The look of utter elation on her face as she looked through the Fnac kistoscope. Those captivating eyes beneath the veil at her wedding. I will never, for as long as I live, forget those sights. I am glad that me reading this novel at you guys can inspire such emotion. I hope you're enjoying the pain. Look forward to later where we get to meet my favorite male character of all time and other cool stuff happening. That is not happening anytime soon though. Jacopo sucks. You're a sentimental one. Well, I guess you've always been kind of mushy, haven't you? Treat your heart despite how you may look. That's not a bad thing though in my book. There's nothing but pain in for you now. But all you can do is wait until she stops writing. But don't worry, if you need to let off some steam, I'm all yours. I'll be here for you until she breaks it off with other men. No, that will not be necessary. What? I know very well that things cannot continue on as they are forever. I knew from the very beginning and still couldn't do anything. This time I'm planning on facing her myself. You serious, Jacopo? Yes. I relied on you for too long. I was afraid of what I might do to her. I didn't want anyone to find out that my wife was being unfaithful. I thought the best way to ensure that was locking her up away from anyone else. But the situation isn't going to improve unless I do something. If I allow things to continue as they are, sooner or later word of her infidelity will leak. So before that happens, I must face her myself. I must do something. Also, we've only had one other example of infidelity in the story, in the way the story treats it. And that was very interesting because it was like Mel's mother and the painter. And despite that all, her and Mel's father managed to seemingly continue going on living past that up pretty well, all things considered. Oh yeah, no, he's legitimately a terrible human being and a horrible capitalist, racist, a bunch of other things. He doesn't care about how many of the lives he's ruined. He's but you can understand why he is who he is. The pressures and the societal pressures that helped make him who he is, right? The things he decided. You can also see emotions about it. They don't excuse any of what he did. Most of them aren't even related to most of the horrible things he does. I appreciate everything you've done. And apologies for getting involved in our troubles. But I'm going to end it now. Like, he is not a morally gray character. He just isn't, right? He's awful, and sometimes people are just awful. But he is a very well-rounded character, actually. You might get violent again if you see her face to face. In fact, that's part of it makes it worse than Yukimasa, right? Like, it feels like a struggle with Yukimasa that feels unwinnable, right? Even if it isn't even, or like, it feels like something outside of Yukimasa's control, where it doesn't for Jakuba. He's conscientiously making these decisions after making value judgments. Yukimasa is infinitely worse in what he does. It took me far too long. I wasted too much time trying to find my resolve. I see. You'll need a way to break the ice then. Break the ice? Right. If you got some convenient excuse to talk to her, I'll reduce some tension and make it easier to bring out what you need to bring up, right? Here's an idea, that transcontinental railroad you've been funded. That's supposed to be an opening up pretty soon, isn't it? Yes, it is. There'll be a message by telegraph when it happens, right? You can ask her to be there to hear it. And then you can invite her to ride the first train. You put your heart and soul into this project, and it's finally being realized. It's going to be an amazing day for you, and a day that's ripe for more good things to happen. It's going to be the accomplishment of a lifetime. Don't look so down in the dumps. You're sending trains across this massive continent, carrying on them the people of this country's dreams. Who's saying you can't stick a dream of your own on it too? Right. Yeah, you have a point. A railroad that spans from the coast to coast. She's a sickly girl who makes long trips to fill. Those new rail systems should make them less training. It'll allow me to show her the world. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm getting excited myself. Yeah. Oh my god, my fucking sides. Seriously, they're goddamn right, the both of them. They keep on trusting me and keep on getting hurt. They don't have to be going through any of this. Oh my god, Maria, you're terrible. This is such a telenovela. This is any time like all the other characters step off screen and then they just get to ham it up and choose scenery. These people call me the Holy Mother. I bet the real Mary's rolling in her fucking grave. Now, I must say I wasn't expecting you to make a move, Jakuba. A shame that the squirming loser paralyzed by insecurity is a better role for you. If they do end up figuring it out, tough shit. Doesn't hurt anything, just takes away a bit of my fun. I don't understand why he's so infatuated with this railroad. I mean, I do sort of get the romanticizing steel, but my kind of steel's a little smaller scale. Now, I suppose it's time to get things moving. No matter how this plays out, you will not have a happy ending, Jakuba. You're going to get a real taste of just how much I despise you. Maria, oh, there you are. What is it? I'm on break right now. You were assigned to clean the cellar today, weren't you? Well, headmaid's saying it hasn't been done yet. What? I did clean it. I cleaned it. Just a casual once over, but hey, come on. Yeah, because this could be anywhere. It has that, like, it does have that certain like feel of like certain Americana novels, right? I'm trying to think of like the best way to phrase it. You're supposed to make me give a damn? I mean it, you take care of it. You get enough special treatment as it is. Yeah, right. I heard you the first time, I'll take care of it. And don't you forget it. Oh, for God's sake, why should I have to be the one to tell it? Yuki Masa, dude. Oh, okay, yeah. That definitely fits Mosca. Who cares if the damn cellar's clean? Not like anyone's bringing guests down there. Yeesh. I guess I should take care of it. Better than tongue lashing with a head maid. God, why did I have to be a maid anyway? What a dank place. It's so dark and humid there. Makes me feel gross. Huh. Someone here. Hello? Hello, is anyone here? Came from further in. Whoa, it's seriously dusty back here. Who was supposed to clean this last week? We'll clean the whole thing next time, damn it. Just makes my job harder. Disgusting. Ugh, cobwebs. Ah, damn. Oh god, oh dear god, I do not want to clean this. Ow, for fuck's sake, God's sake, stack this shit properly. Now I gotta fix the whole... For the love of... What's this? Something carved into the floor. Never noticed this before. Someone get bored one day? What do we have here? It's mostly illegible. Let's see. It's not written in English, but my native tongue. But it's not modern. It's really archaic. Why on earth would an old form of Italian be carved into the floor of a mansion built here in the New World? Most of it's illegible, but I can make out one section. Our lives. Our lives shall be forfeit to the witch's curse. Nevertheless, we must lay bare those with sin upon their souls, for redemption of those whom are pure. Should ye mean not to dispel your curse, we implore you, of you, O witch, to mark with it only their bloodlines. The blood of the sinners flows through those who dwelt in this house, but not I. What in the... a witch? That's crazy. That's crazy. But why does the handwriting look like mine? It's just coincidentally similar. No one's handwriting is perfectly unique after all. Why am I so sweaty? It's not that hot down here. Oh, no, forget it. Didn't see a thing. Not a chance it's real. Just a tasteless prank. This is silly. There's something in this box. Is that a painting? Has it always been here? Huh. White hair, fair skin. Is this the madam? But then, why is the face all torn up? And her clothes look really old-fashioned. The painting seems worn and faded too. Something about it feels off. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's very creepy, unsettling. The writing on the floor in this painting. What is it with this house? It's just a painting. Nothing to get weirded out over. I bet I know what happened. Jack will probably slash it up in a fit of jealousy. He is a simple man. I think this probably wouldn't put him in the best mood. That's an interesting little tidbit of information there. What was that? Is someone there? That door is open? Nobody's there. What's this, a painting? Who could have left it here? Is that me? Why? But my face has been cut. No. CT. Why would someone have this painted just to do this? Who would do such a thing? You are like a witch, my dear, like a demon. Your very presence brings misfortune upon others. You're cursed. No, I'm not. I'm not. Was it you, Jacopo? Did you have this painted so you could destroy it? Do you really despise me to that extent? Why do you... Why do you... What did I ever do to make you hate me so? Why? Why? Uh, all I'm doing is waiting for you. You worthless tramp. Are those ears only for show? This house has no need for a garden. I always thought you had at least some sense of taste. Silence, it's all your fault. Every last thing. Then say goodbye to your freedom. I'll kill you. Does the mere act of waiting impose upon you? Does my mere presence pervert you? Would it be better if I were gone? Would it be better if I left this mansion? If I left you? I don't think I can wait much longer. There's no end in sight. I can't take it any. There is no end. No. I will set a deadline for when I give up waiting. When the project you pour your heart and soul into is complete. When the railroad opens, I'll be finished waiting. And then when it's over, the Pacific Railroad's last spike ceremony was drawing to near by the day. That day was coincidentally the deadline that the two of them had set for themselves, Jacopo to confront his wife and the white-haired girl to wait for him. And as that day approached, she continued to write letters. She wrote letters purely by force of habit, despite having been worn visibly thin. I especially could not stop. The act of writing was all that kept her from going mad. By focusing her attention on another person through her letters, she was able to maintain her grip on herself. But that day would put an end to her suffering and despair. When the railroad was completed, all their misunderstandings would be cleared up. They would return to the smiling, happy couple they had been when they were first married. The harsh winter would finally come to a close, melting away into the past, allowing them to step into the future. With constant prayer in my heart, I impatiently awaited the railroad's opening ceremony. I do not, after all, wish for anyone to fall into any kind of misfortune. And that goes for you as well, Master. Now, Master, the door is soon to be shut upon this era. Are you prepared to see what happens next? I see, very well. Then I'll have to make our way to that final day. See with your own eyes, Master, how this tale concludes. And please, do not let go of my hand. The night before the opening ceremony, the master of the house headed for his wife's shed. There was a tension on his face, but a surety in his step. He had found the resolve to speak to her. Good luck, you all. Having locked her away for so long in the shed like a common prisoner, Jacopo was hardly optimistic about what she might say to him. Self-aware to realize how horrible the things he's doing is, but not enough to stop doing them? Come on, man, please. I have negative faith in you, and you still disappoint me. He had undeniably mistreated her, said heartless and cruel things to her, and even gone physically violent with her. His actions were inexcusable, even if they were in response to her infidelity. Of course, that very infidelity which had driven him to such an behavior had not, in fact, even taken place. But he was unaware of that. There was a chance they would never reconcile their misunderstandings, and this predicament would not have a positive resolution, but he still clung to a tiny fragment of hope. He wanted to start over with the white-haired girl, to make a new future with her. With that desire burning strong in his heart, he stood before the door to her shed and called out to her. Pixel, I've said before, I hate this man so much. By the way, there's people in Fata morgana fans whose favorite character is Jacopo, and I do not trust them. Are you awake? It's me, Jacopo. May I come in? I won't hurt you. I will not raise my hand against you again. I will swear to you I will do you no harm. I just wish to speak. I would like to have a calm, rational conversation. And as such, I will not enter your room until you've given me your permission. So may I please come in? You won't even give me a response. Alright. Considering how much you feel about me, I shouldn't be surprised. Fine then, you don't have to let me in. But please, at least hear me out. Do you remember the day shortly after we first met, when we went on our honeymoon? Or, if you can even call that a little walk, we took a honeymoon. I was unable to do anything nice for you then either. I had no experience, no idea how to interact with an upper-class woman like you. I didn't know what I should do for you. Yes, I know that makes me sound juvenile. I have a tendency to say things I don't mean the more perturbed I get. I'm sure I said things to hurt you numerous times that day. However, at that photography shop, when you saw the Fnac kistoscope, you smiled for me. I was genuinely pleased in that moment. I felt like I had gotten closer to you. I very much doubt that you actually an appropriate present for an animal woman like yourself. Jewels or flowers, isn't that something beautiful would have certainly suited you better. I knew that, but I assumed you would have been given gifts like that countless times in the past. You are, after all, a beautiful woman. I did not want to have to compete on the same field as those other men. I wanted to be special. I wanted to be unique to you. No one had ever shown you anything of the sort, had they? Frankly, I wasn't sure if a woman in your status would take any interest in a Fnac kistoscope at all. Imagine you've thrown it out by now, but I choose to believe you sincerely liked it on that day. That, if just for a moment I caught your eye, even if you started seeing other men afterwards, the moment was real, wasn't it? Our marriage was at its core nothing but an arrangement between our parents, an exchange of money and influence. And that's how it began, but that day I loved you. I yearned to see you smile as if I'd loved you my entire life. Also, people can genuinely love other people and have it be utterly horrible for the other person, where their love hurts them and the ways they express it only further their suffering. Love isn't inherently good or healthy. That's the project I've been funding. Everyone thought it was crazy, but railroad now stretched across the breadth of this country. A joining ceremony will be held tomorrow. Yeah, because if he 100% followed what he was taught, he would have simply killed her. Yeah, there's always just a dozen extra layers to make every horrible thing that happens a dozen times worse. Luckily, they're planning to do on doing a gun salute, and the sound of the last spike being driven to the ground will be transmitted across the country via telegraph. I've procured a telegraph so we can listen to here in the mansion. In your condition, you'd probably have trouble handling the crowds at the telegraph station. But here you could celebrate it in the comfort of your own home. I suppose what I'm saying is, I want to celebrate this with you. I have made arrangements to make that possible for you, because I wish to have you there with me. Would you be willing tomorrow to celebrate? Would you be there at my side? Please say something. I want to start over. I know very well what I've done to you. You may be at fault yourself, but what I did was unacceptable. But what I did was a consequence of my own power and love for you. No, I swear. Why will you not answer me? Say something. Anything. Please. You can hear me in there, can't you? If you don't want to, you can just say no. If you do reject me, I'll set you free. I won't hurt you, I promise. The door is not locked. Who opened it? Hello? A humid spring breeze brushed against his cheek. The drawn laces curtain appeared to glow in gentle moonlight. The white-haired girl was not in her room. Where have you gone? Stupefied, he glanced about his wife's chamber. To my eyes, the neatly organized room appeared no different than any other day, but to his eyes it was pale and hollow. For the one who was supposed to be there, who was supposed to be waiting for him, was not present. He could not hear a voice from anywhere in the shed. In its place echoed a dry rustling, a sad, pitiful, empty whimper of a noise. It came from a lone object left abandoned atop her desk. The phenakistoscope. It was the one present Jacopo had ever given the white-haired girl, a toy made of paper. When spun and viewed in a mirror, it created the illusion of a man and a woman dancing. You still had this. That's ridiculous. I assumed you'd thrown it out. The white-haired girl had evidently made considerable use of the phenakistoscope. The paper was visibly worn and tattered, warped in places and even begun to yellow. It spun slowly in the wind, rustling and rustling and rustling, spinning an endless remainder of the year before, though there was no longer anyone around to look through it. Why, you were with other men. Why would you keep something I gave you? It's so worn. Why? A letter. This could be us, but you're making paper. Beneath the ever-rotating phenakistoscope lay a single sheet of paper. As if drawn to it, he scanned the contents of the parchment. It's a letter addressed to Caro mio, Jacopo. The salutation, written in his native language, translated as follows. My beloved Jacopo. Did the fruits of your dreams turn out as you'd hoped? I'm sure it was wonderful. And impressively fast. A train that can travel across a continent as large as this is like something out of a story. I wish I could have been there to see it. I'm sure it would have been quite pleasant. Like the day you give me the Phenakis wheel. Am I being presumptuous? I'm sorry. I thought I would keep waiting for you forever. No matter how much you hated or ignored me. But I made up my mind, so... I'm sorry. I decided I would wait for you until the railroad was completed. I foolishly thought that you might invite me to the opening ceremony. But it seems I'm not good enough for you. I'm going to take my leave of your house, so you needn't concern yourself with me any longer. However, I do have one request. Please do not forget about all the letters I wrote. Think back on them from time to time. Do not burn them all, for they contain my thoughts, my feelings, my words, a record of my love for you. Remember when you can that I was always watching you. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble writing. My ears are ringing. There's a voice whispering to me, calling me a witch. Maybe it's your voice. My vision is blurred. I'm not even sure what. It's going through my mind. I'm sorry this was all I was able to write for you. I'm truly sorry. I'll leave the Phoenix school behind. It was my dearest treasure. Farewell. I loved you. Gonna get that one in a moment. What? What the hell is this? He was visibly rattled, and unsurprisingly so. The mention of the Transcontinental Railroad's opening ceremony, the letter she had written, her dearest treasure, her professional love for him, and above all, the mangled text that appeared to have been written by someone not entirely in their right mind. Everything about it served to amplify his befuddlement. You waited for me? How can that be? The joining ceremony's tomorrow. It hasn't even happened yet. Why did you have to leave then? I'm here. I came for you just as I planned. The ceremony's on the 10th. A second later, Jacopo gasped. The date written on the letter was the day prior, May 8th. Originally, the ceremony was planned to be held on May 8th, 1869. However, due to the bad weather and labor dispute, it had been postponed for 2 days. This can't be. I made sure you were informed. I had Maria. The madam is having an affair. Maria, no, you couldn't. Scattered fragments of memory began coming together in his head. Maria was the only one who had informed him of his wife's supposed unfaithfulness. And the letters had not been addressed to him. Thinking back on it, they had all been about him. In one letter, she had mentioned treasuring a gift. Yes, this is 100% a drama, Moscow. This is like every Indian drama my mom watched when I was a kid, and we used to like get burned VCRs from that one really cheap store. The good old days. She would always not buy me those shitty like gummies with the little like rubber toy in them, because I would 100% choke on them. Good times, good times. As long last, he finally made that connection. At the same time, he realized that the only person who could have altered the letters was someone they both trusted, Maria. Never. She never even once betrayed me. She was not unfaithful at all. She waited unwaveringly for me. And I refused to believe her. I caused her pain again and again. But his realization came far too late. The white-haired girl's spirit had broken, and she was no longer at the mansion. Had he caught on to Marie's machinations sooner, things would not have turned out as they had. But he was much too late. Maria, why? Why would you do this? Clenching the letter from his wife, Jack was stormed out of the shed in search of Maria. But she was not in the room assigned to her. Where are you? Where have you gone? Maria! Several maids were roused from their slumber by the racket. I have no problems if any of you folks post links. I trust you all. Well, we might change that if I ever blow up, but you guys are all fun. Okay. Let me just look this up real quick. Alright. Let's see if you'll get your wish. Several maids were roused from their slumber by the racket, but no one had the courage to speak up as the master of the house frantically charged through the halls. Eventually, he arrived at his own chamber. He was certain he had closed the door before leaving, but now a sliver of light shone through the gap between it and the frame. From within the room, he thought he could sense someone's presence. When he opened the door, there he saw, comfortably perched upon his own chair, a woman. I've been waiting, Jacopo. Okay, that art's been overdone. Nice room you got here. Oh no, she's hot instantly. Mosca having to balance horrible women and and vengeance. All these fancy furnishings. You do know this stuff's too good for you, right? And then me, I get that barren little maid's room. Draws me up the wall. So hey, Jacopo. Clear the air with your little lady yet? Maria! I love that look on your face. I'm guessing you didn't make things better then. You know good and well that she's not even here anymore. Well, yeah, but I still want to hear you say it, you know? I want to hear from your own mouth you couldn't keep a leash on your woman, so you locked her up, drove her mad, broke her down, and then she ran away from you. Go on, say something. Climb back on your high horse and start shouting like you always do. Why, Maria? Why would you do this? Why do you think? Because I fucking despise you. I've been trying to figure out how I want to end things, but then they just fell apart on their own. The fates are smiling down upon me, I guess. Nonsense. She was waiting for me until the day of the joining ceremony. I was going to see her on that day. You knew the ceremony had been postponed. That's what you get for putting it all in my hands. For thinking I'm the only one on your side. What, do you think I'd just tell her like a good little maid? Not a chance in hell. I mean, talk about some fantastic news. You both picked the same day, but you got the dates different. Absolutely perfect. Maria, is that how you've always felt? How long have you had this grudge against me? How long? How long? How goddamn dense can you be? Must be nice living in your little fantasy world, Jacopo. And this is the next capo familia? Oh my god, my sides. You've always hated me. At the very least, I fucking loathed you since the minute we had a reunion. At first I did try to convince myself you had your reasons. Didn't make me feel any less fair though. You had all the money and all your power and everything else you'd stole from me. And then you go in to get hitched to this pretty little lady. Oh, don't try to act like you're the victim here. This is all on you. Do you have an idea how I felt? Falling from grace, major goddamn maid, having to suck up to you? Do you have any idea how infuriating that was? Or do you think I didn't know anything? Do you think I didn't suspect anything? If you did, then you got your head way up in the clouds. You were motivated by your grudge against my family, the Berzottis? Precisely, that's exactly it. Your father wanted badly to be capo familia, wanted so badly to be in power. He murdered my dad and grandpa. They said it was a carriage accident, but the ground was all torn up to hell where it happened. You want to tell me what kind of carriage accident causes it to explode? As soon as my dad and grandpa died, your dad took over as capo familia. Bounds of power and the factions began to change. My family was either exterminated or exiled. The Berzottis took control of the city. My grandpa's Casca became your Casca. No one in their right mind would be naive to think the Berzottis didn't have a hand in that. The great Campanella family bitten by their pet dog. Except the dog had rabies. As well as in time that lush historic land will wither away and die. My dad and grandpa, buried in the dried up earth, are screaming in their graves even now. You can't prove me wrong. Can you, Jacopo? And now, first in line to be the next capo familia is you, his son. Naturally. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? Slaughtering my family, leaving us to wallow in the mud, while you live here like a fucking king. Because of what your family did, I don't have a home to go back to anymore. No house, no prestige, I have nothing left. And that's goddamn outrageous. The Campanellas are supposed to run that city, but instead, you filthy Berzotti curs are crawling over like some kind of infestation. I'm a legitimate Campanella, but I'm stuck being your goddamn maid. If I hadn't been born a woman, I could have become the capo familia after my dad and grandpa died. But because I'm a woman... I couldn't retaliate. I just had to sit on my hands and watch the tragedy unfold. It's so absolutely miserable. So I had to make you suffer as well. I had to make you as... No, I had... You had no reason to hate anyone but me. Why did you make her a part of this? Did you have some grudge against her too? Not particularly. I actually kind of rather liked the madam. Sweet, pretty kind-hearted, timid, and fragile. Trusted every word I said. A splendid little toy. You thought of her as your toy. Now, can you really call me out on that? You can't. You have no right. You never cared one bit about anyone else. They're all footstools to you. It's a little too late to find yourself a sense of morality. This is the whole thing. It could have been avoided if you two just had a single conversation. But instead, the both of you came crawling to me saying you're my only ally, Maria. How dense can you be? Of course I thought you were my ally. I trusted you, as I'm sure she did too. Then you should get your eyes examined because you can't see a damn thing. Maria. My god, it was beautiful. The way you two blindly trusted me, creating your own misunderstandings, causing your own pain. How you could never seem to get on the same page. Watching it all fall apart. Maria. Is that everything? The extent of your grudge and all you did? Yep. That's everything. That's all that's left. It's for me to kill you. Also, you might want to notice the coloring here with the blacks and the purples and the hair that looks white in this light, and the look on her face. That's a direct reference to a certain CG from another VN that you know I'm a big fan of. Can you guess the VN in character, folks? It is a yandere face, but it's a very specific yandere face for a very specific character. I'll give you a minute for that. Okay, that's fine, Pixel. Don't worry about it. And this is truly a post-Umineko world. Yes. This is Kyrie. Move with the shotgun. Hold still now. I wouldn't want to miss. Maria, you. Does a past mean nothing to you? Was that just an empty promise? How could it, when you remember so clearly? Well, I'll explain to you for a little romantic work. Bad grown-ups will even take advantage of good memories. It's time I finally returned this to you, Jacopo. The cartridge you gave me packed with your disgusting sentimentality. Literally shot him with the cartridge you gave us a gift. The sheer drama. The sheer drama happening. Killing you ain't the end, though. All you bear Zodi curse. I'll send every last one of you straight to hell. My revenge has just begun. Even if you had been a man, you wouldn't have been a super old capo familia. You should have aimed between my eyes, Maria. Jacopo. Why? In a panic, I pulled the trigger, and from the barrel a bullet went flying. Quite literally right between her eyes. Would anyone ever believe me if I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? The rain just keeps on coming. Wonder if we'll be able to go home today. Hey, Jacopino, say something, you little wuss. Be quiet. Oh, you're gonna give me a headache. The lightning's way louder than me. Eek. Ah! Ha, you jumped, Jacopino. You're such a baby. You jumped too, and stop calling me that. Don't be scared. Don't cry. I'm not crying. Your eyes are damp too. I'm not crying, not at all. Not one bit. Liar. There's no end to this rain, is there? I'm fine if it doesn't stop. There's nothing at home for me. You don't want to go home? Your parents don't get along, huh? That's got nothing to do with it. Liar. You got it good. Everyone loves your grandpa. Whenever anyone needs something, they come to him. Now there's a great man. How did my grandpa become part of this? Oh, no reason. Not everyone likes him. He gets just imitate his love. Grandpa's not really a model citizen. He's mostly just shrewd. Are you jealous? I'm not. My old man is though. Is he now? Well, your dad's got his good points too, I think. Like, I know, he seems like the kind of man who could accomplish big things. He seems a lot stricter than my grandpa. Oh, come on, I don't get you. What are you climbing up for? No reason. If you don't want to go home then, how about we just go somewhere far away from here? Huh? Let's stop training, let's get out of here. Head up to the capital, find some work. We can make it work, the two of us. Oh, and we'll bring Nero, of course. If we could, that'd be nice. Break free of the city and its outdated traditions. Head somewhere bigger, more forward-thinking. All the ideas of capitalism and success and getting ahead and respect and all those ideas that Jacopo lives by and causes untold suffering by and continues to perpetuate forever. If only it were possible. It's alright, Maria. I know you were just joking. We wouldn't be able to find work anyway. If the two of us ran off, we'd be starving in a month. You can't just fully disconnect from society, sadly. You'd have to be blind not to see that. Right, let's go home once the rain lets up. Yeah, once it does. But until then, I know, let's sing. Sing even louder than lightning. Then maybe we'll stop crying, Jacobina. I am not crying. Come on, let's sing. La 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 la. I cannot do this, so I won't try. Fun fact for you folks at home: I failed grade 2 recorder, because I cannot do the musics. Coward, this utter coward. Maria, I may not put into words, but I trust you understand that I consider you a dear friend. Listen to me, Jacopo. My actions were justified. I did what I did for the betterment of the city, this land. The Campanellas are too conservative. Under their control, this country will atrophy. Progress will continue to lose steam. If we don't push forward, we'll fall further and further behind. Before long, you will be made the next capo familiar. But until that day, you will cross over to the New World and establish the Cosca there. Unify us, bolster us, make us strong. I'll handle things back here. I won't let the Campanellas strike back. What, you want Maria to? It's dangerous to keep a Campanella so close by. She has to be taken care of. If you insist. But do not let your guard down. Betrayal is a constant companion in this world. I'm giving you my revolver. Keep it on you at all times. Glory everlasting upon your blood. And upon this earth. It's interesting that Mal, Yukimasa, and Jacopo all seem to relatively survive and have to live with like the worst parts of themselves. Guys will literally get the bras of the grandfather a decade after they're dead instead of running off with the girl. If I show you any more obvious preferential treatment, the Berzattis are liable to step in. Money, power, respect, and enough authority to not take orders from anyone. I thought that if I could contain all that, I'd be able to give you your freedom. And her as well. I want to give you both comfortable lives. But none of that got through to either of you. You fucked up super hard, Jacopo. Everything is slipping through my fingers. Her love, my friendship with Maria. Both of their smiles. Master! Master! What was that sound? So much blood. Maria? What happened this time? You keep getting stuck witnessing the worst things. What? Call a doctor, someone with tight lips. Do not call the police. And don't make a scene, got it? If so, then go on. Yes, sir. Right, not everything has slipped from my grasp. My money and influence are all that's left. That is what you wanted, though, is it not? You saw money and power, no? Aren't you going to go? Yes, I will. But first, I would like to ask you something. What do you intend to do from here? What am I going to do? Exactly the same as before. There's but one thing for me to do. I see. Will you eventually find solace in your riches? The way I see it, money and power can be your ally, but they can become your enemy in the blink of an eye. If you do not put them into words, your feelings will never make it through to anyone. For unlike money, Humans are not measurable by their appearance. He failed to communicate to anyone that he held within his breast. He was chained down by his place in society, his pride, his relationships, and his own heart. And at some point he found himself in a position where he was no longer able to speak his mind. After enough time, he likely forgot how to be genuine at all. Or perhaps someone simply like him would not, even if they knew how. In any event, there are many things in this world that cannot be communicated without being put into words. How sad that his tale should end without him expressing how he truly felt. How hard it must have been to never clear up his misunderstandings. After Jacobo's confrontation with Maria, the Pacific Railroad was completed as scheduled. Celebratory cheers shook the new world as the last spike was driven into the rails. Jacobo, however, could not even manage to smile listening to the telegraph. And I'm sure you can take a guess as to why. The people with whom we wish to share the moment were not here. Shortly after following her death, Jacobo held a private funeral for Maria. Then he commenced a search for the white-haired girl. But he did not do so alone. He hired others to help, did everything in his power to find her, tirelessly searching for many, many years. However, he was never able to locate her, and he spent the remainder of his life alone. Money, power, renown, servants. The world around him was always quite lively, but solitude was his only companion. He waited, and he waited for the white-haired girl to return. Years crawled by, and with no family or loved one set aside to care for him in his old age, he died alone. And back to the phenakistoscope. And that's the story of the third door. The door before you slowly drew shut. You could no longer hear the raucous sound of men from within the den. The faint scent of cigarette smoke, however, lingered in the air. Yeah, also, being left with your wealth is kinda not like the worst, but also, he fucked everything up so hard and ruined everything for the only people he heard about. It's still all his fault, but, still shitty. Starting vaguely at the closed door, you noticed something was amiss. The maid who had been holding your hand was no longer at your side. You glanced around, but she was nowhere in sight. Down the corridor stretched only darkness. Not having anticipated, you were unsure how to react. What's the matter? You lost her just trying to take in the sights. A voice called out to you, but it was not the maid's voice. It's the perpetuation of all that he learned and all that he was taught, and all the forces of, society, capitalism, etc. All those justifications he did, right? But also, it was also his insecurity and his inability to trust and combine and communicate with people at all. Which is partly due to the way he was raised, too. But still. Caught off guard, you spun around, confused, in search of the source. We live in a society in Fata, morgana, yes. Where are you looking? I'm over here, yeah. There you go. A little more to the left. Following the voice's instruction, you find yourself facing a wall. You look like you've just seen a ghost. Hey now, come on, don't turn away. Yep, you got it. I'm the one talking to you. The voice was coming from within the painting. When you had passed by this wall, on your way to the third door, a magnificent landscape painting had been hanging there. But now the canvas was a deep shade of black as if it had dipped into a vat of ink. Been a while since I've talked to anyone. So tell me, you can hear me all right, can't you? Splendid. Been so long since I've had a conversation, I was afraid I might have forgotten how to talk. So tell me, who might you be? You don't know. Well, isn't that quite the pickle? Then how about we have a little chat, eh? You got yourself turned around and aren't sure where to go, yeah? Well, I'll be happy to tell you anything I can. Just ask away. The painting sounded rather high-spirited. Perhaps he was simply excited to have an opportunity to speak with someone. So you decided you would just ask the painting a few questions. You weren't expecting choices. Oh shit. Who are you? Me, well, as you can see, I'm painting. What I end up as a painting? Hard to say. Maybe I was reborn as a painting because I really like art? Those are things I painted I wish I hadn't. Maybe the regrets what turned me into this. Hopefully I get the chance to apologize to him about that. Anyway, no point in getting into any more detail than that. Wouldn't mean anything to you, so enough about me. Right, you didn't know anything about yourself. Shame that. Alright then, fair to you, since you can't tell me about yourself. You run into him, could you tell him I really regret what I did? I know I should tell him myself, but well, as you can see. Stuck here, can't move an inch, so I gotta ask for help. Feel absolutely terrified about painting that picture. Terrible. I know, yeah, deadline's way past on that one. But that's what makes it a regret, yeah? Because you can't take it back. By the time I realized it was too late, he was already dead. He's long since passed away. How are you supposed to give a dead fellow a message? Well, for all you know, the dead could be wandering these halls too. So please, if you come across him, tell him I said that. That I didn't mean any harm with that painting. Or maybe you are him. Who am I? In life, I review toilets for all of you guys can have a rough time. The Patrick Boyven ideal form of immortality. Just because you don't know who you are doesn't mean you can go around asking other people. I'm not a person, you say? Well, no, you're right, but I'm not gonna know anything about you that you can't tell me yourself. I mean, from where I'm standing, you look almost like a walking cloud of shadow. Can't even tell what you look like. The maid who was with you before, did she call you master? I see, but the question is, which era's master are you? How many doors have you been through? 3 doors, eh? And of those, did any of them bring anything back? Well, it's not an easy thing recovering yourself. We're behind any of the 3 doors. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That was your first time witnessing those tragedies. Yours is another door. So tell me, how do you feel looking behind those doors? Was it frightening? Saddening? Heart-wrenching? Well, let me tell you something. You were able to bear them because they weren't your tragedies. Yet the next door you open is yours. Will you be able to bear it? Or will you be able to accept your own tragedy? It's one thing seeing other sufferings, but your own. If you had to face emotions you want to keep buried, secrets you want to keep hidden away, and pain you wanted to forget, do you think you'll be able to accept them as your own? If you can't, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't accuse you of running if you chose not to reclaim your old self. Nothing wrong with erasing your memory of something if it was so bad you didn't want to face it in the first place. Let it be rewritten in someone else's story. That'll make it a whole lot easier on you. Because you never know. The most unfortunate tale of all may well be your own. Or perhaps, that goes for everything about you. You won't know till you see it? Well, that's true enough. But once you do, there might not be any turning back. Or do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cost? If you do, if you're sincerely prepared to do that, then be wary of the tale that comes next. Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real is precisely that, a fabrication. If it turns out you're someone from behind the next door, then perhaps you're mine. What is this place? Oof, talk about some hard-hitting questions. I'm probably not the one who'll be able to answer that question for you. I don't have a very deep connection with this mansion, you see. I swear, I got nothing to gain from lying, do I? There's amount of regrets that have been turned me into this. Wasn't summoned here by no one. That said, there's one thing I can tell you. This place summons people. People who have ties to something that happened long, long, long ago. No one knows anything even happened. I don't know either, till she told me. The fog is how much of it's true or not. Are you here? Because you were summoned by her? Or did you come here of your own will to find someone? If you came of your own volition and you weren't summoned by her, then mayhaps you'll be the one who can break. Yeah, those are all there, and I think we can mention a couple other things because it's also dealing with those things mainly. But that's that's a decent enough summary for now. Might as well ask her directly that, but she won't say till you regained your old self. I see. Well, in that case, if you want to know, Yep, class critique. If you want to know, you know what you gotta do. It's entirely up to you whether you make an ally or an enemy out of her. There's no guaranteeing she's even right in the head. You never know. Maybe you're not the only one who hasn't found themselves. Haven't talked that much in a long time. Feels great. Now that I got it out of my system, I should be able to get some good sleep. You're probably still wandering in the dark right now, but I really hope you find the outcome you want. What a good painting. And I mean that. You can either reclaim your old self or you can toss it aside. The choice is yours either way. Now since it looks like your escort isn't showing up, what do you plan to do next? How about taking a look around the place since you've got a little free time? Could you come across some things you wouldn't with her around? Alright, if you're gonna go exploring, I got the perfect thing. Stick your hand in the canvas, would you? The painting was still wrapped in impenetrable darkness. A perfect, all-consuming void. The man had told you to put your hands into it. I will trust this painting. Oh, come on. Are you saying you don't trust this painting, Evie? What would this painting possibly have to gain? Look, Pixel recognizes this painting. Good person. I trust them 100%. Na, 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 na. Well, yeah, someone trapped me here because I threw puppies off a cliff. You extended your hand for the painting. The moment your fingertips brushed against the darkness, it swallowed your entire hand up to the wrist. Ah, no, not there. That tickles a little to the right. The man the painting instructed, you groped around inside the darkness. Before long, you felt something hard at your fingertips. Clenching the object, you withdrew your hand. Your arm was still intact. You spread your fingers, and there you found a key. Ah, that tickled. With that key, you can access the master bedroom. A while back, she tossed it into me. The damn letter bug. So yeah, never mind, don't worry about giving back. However, I bet there's something worth seeing in there. If she felt the need to toss that key. Alright, well, I'm gonna get some sleep. You take care. If you happen to learn my name, come pay me another visit. Should the fancy strike you. Having said that, the painting felt quiet. In her hand lay a small key. It seemed rather antiquated and vaguely familiar. Silence once again drew over the corridor. You stood there all alone, no sign of the maid. After considering for a few moments, you decided to explore the mansion on your own. Yo, exploration! No, I need my dummy mommy, the maid. You tried to call for the maid. It was quiet. A sense of loneliness fell over you. So is the maid or the witch? Is the maid the witch? But the maid mentioned that there was a witch there before and there was cursed before she got there, right? Ooh, Evie's of the opinion that they're one and the same. There's a little thing you get if you call her 10 times, but whatever. Let's just go to the entrance. You made your way to the mansion's entrance. There was no one around, nor any source of light. Groping through the darkness, you found the front door, which was sealed shut with a heavy bar. You pressed against the bar, but it remained firmly in place. The door did not budge either. It seemed you could not leave the mansion. Burn the witch. Crucify the impure. When you made to step away from the entrance, you heard a muffled voice. You looked around, but were unable to determine the sound of the voice. Nor could you be sure of whom you had heard either. Giving up on anything at the entrance, you decide to head somewhere else. That was a bit ominous too. You made your way to the room with the fireplace. What remained of fire crackled weakly, leaving the room in a veil of darkness. You remembered that you had woken here. Out of sheer curiosity, you sat down in the rocking chair you'd been sleeping. Creak. Did the folio work come through? It was as soothing as a cradle to a baby. And in short order, You found your consciousness drifting from your grasp. Folio. Why did I say folio? That's a completely different thing. Reading a story by the fireplace, it almost makes you feel like we're in another world, doesn't it, Master? Yeah, that was me. I bet that was why troubadours perform at pubs, so they can be near the fire. Oh, you're such a cynic. But that's okay. Say, do you remember when I first arrived here? When I was cleaning the library? Huh. A memory of being here. Your eyes slowly slid open. Fragments of pleasant dream lingered in the back of your mind. The crackling fire, the taste of a warm wine. However, there was nothing pleasant about the fireplace sitting before you. No warm, crackling flames. In fact, the brisk air of the room overpowered the remnants of the embers left there. A chill ran down your spine. Afraid you might freeze stiff if you stayed there much longer, you resumed your exploration of the mansion. Come on, maid, are you here either? Another one? Let's... Oh, come on. I just want a woman to guide me. Please. Ah, well. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just go to the den. The scent of cigarette smoke lingered in the den. However, the room was silent. Not even an echo of the men's chattering remained. Something was moving. Billiard balls. There was no one present to strike the balls. They rolled spontaneously around the table. The paths they traced across the surface were rough and erratic, contrasting that of when the former master had held the cue. The spheres collided awkwardly with one another, not a single one coming close to the pockets. As an experiment, you pulled a ball off the table. In response, the paths of the balls became even clumsier. Having lost one of their targets, they began bouncing aimlessly off the cushioned walls of the table. As you stared intently at the table, a man's voice rang out from somewhere in the room. Spinning around, you saw a silhouette of a man. However, you could not make out what the man was saying. The man thrust his finger at the table. He appeared to want you to return the ball. You reluctantly placed the billiards ball back at on the table. When you did that, balls resumed endlessly colliding with one another, never landing in any of the pockets. Much like particles moving on in a void, now that mentioned, have you heard of quantum mechanics? May I interest you in a thought experiment? Have you heard of the Schrodinger's cat? He looks up to find the shadow gone. Ooh, that's a very good eye, Mosca. That is not one of Jacobo's spikes we've seen. Having determined that the maid was not going to appear in the den, you exit the room, making your way back into the corridor. Hey, look, your head's covered in roses. Oh, you got petals on the book. This is mine, I can't afford to. Though you could not hear the sound of children laughing. You could hear the sound of children laughing, you could not see them. Regardless, their cheerful voices warmed your heart. You decided to linger there in the garden for some time. Along with the children's laughs, wafted a sweet fragrance. The wind blew, whisking flower petals up into the air. It was an enchanting sight. But after a while, the roses began to wilt. You could no longer hear the children's voices either. A young man stood alone in the withered rose garden. As you drew nearer, you called out to the youth. But the young man did not appear to notice you. He merely stood there, staring vacantly across the garden. The youth muttered something in a lifeless voice. This isn't what I wanted. I just want a normal, peaceful life. I can't bear being alone. I can't take this. Someone get me out of here. Oh God, tell me that I'm not the bad one here. You tried to call out to the young man several times, but he did not seem to hear you. He simply continued muttering to himself. But before long, the youth's shadow faded into nothing. Unable to bear the chilly air any longer, you stepped back into the mansion. When you descended the cellar, you heard a beast-like snarling. Along with it came a sour odor and the sound of ripping flesh. You could not see the beast, but that did not make it any less unpleasant. You made to retreat from the cellar. But before you could, a shadowy creature lunged at you. You reflexively squeezed your eyes shut. After several moments, you opened your eyes again to find a silhouette of a man standing in place of the beast. You and the shadow stared at one another for some time. You asked the shadow a question, and the shadow responded. However, you had no idea what it said. The shadow seemed to be trying to communicate something to you, but trying to make sense of something you could not understand was pointless. Having no reason to remain in the cellar any longer, you made your way back upstairs. Thank you for a shock, Pixel. That's a girlfriend, Yukimasa. Horrible serial murderer. He really likes the killing. The smell of dusty books filled the air of the library. You approached the cells to examine one of the books, and suddenly an avalanche of them came falling to the floor. You stared blankly at a mountain of books. They had fallen down on their own, but they had shown no signs of putting themselves away. Since no one else was there to do it, you began placing the books back on the shelf. 1, 2, 3, a dozen, and soon you had gotten them all back up. They came crashing back down again. You wished very much to implore the maid's assistance, but she did not appear to be in there. Pretending you had not seen anything, you made your way back into the hallway. Let's go see the stained glass window. Back to its former glory before Bestia broke it. You approached the stained glass window, an array of pews arranged facing the stained glass. There seemed to be an air of tranquility about the room. Dutch man of Japanese descent, bachelor, biggest catch in Spain, owns mysterious haunted mansion. No, it is good to take a look and think about how, like, humanity wasn't as separated and divided. That's a much more recent, like, sort of thinking. For the moment, you felt like you were on the verge of recalling something, but ultimately, the memory never managed to surface. While while the rest of the sailors were trading, he was mastering the blade. The maid did not appear to be there. Where could she have gone? You decide to resume exploring the mansion. There is something about how Yukimasa treated, the sword and like all his very little like relations to like Japan as well, because like he was born outside of it and he had never seen it. All he had was his grandfather's stories. So that sort of like his misbelonging his like lack of anything to ground himself. There's something interesting there. Obviously, he's still just buck nuts, but that's just what that is. Also, it's kind of insanely impressive how good at murder Yukimasa is, because that was a whole village of people. You decide to resume exploring the mansion. Go to the master bedroom. You insert the key to be given to the door's keyhole. With a twist, the door opened. The master bedroom was shrouded in darkness, much like every other room in the mansion. It had evidently been left unused for some time. The air in the room was still and forlorn. Master. A voice seemed to ring out from somewhere. Come on, get up. Up with you. Master. See, what did I tell you? It's so much nicer in here with a little light. Without warning, your whole world took bright, vivid colors. Light streamed through the window, illuminating a well-lit bedroom. A woman's silhouette stood before you. Wait a sec. Don't you hide your bedspread? Get out of here. Oh, but Master, you agreed I could open the windows. Oh, don't worry, I put the curtains... I love this song, by the way. This song is a banger. Don't worry, I put the curtains up. If it gets too bright, you can draw them. Mornings take the best part of being outside and squeeze them all into the same few hours. You don't have to go outside in the sunlight for it either. Just listen to all the wonderful sounds. The joyous sounds of the birds, the swinging of the trees, the rustling of the leaves. You tried to call out to the silhouette, but it did not respond. Reaching out for her, your hands simply passed through her body. It did not seem to be you that she was speaking to. Perhaps you were looking for a scene from some other period of time. There's plenty of still good ones left. Am I being pushy as I feel right now? I completely misjudged you. You're the exact opposite of what I thought you were. Let's see. I thought you were cold and cruel, heartless and incomprehensible. But I'm beginning to get a better idea. You try to put on airs, but you're really rather childish. You have a short temper, but can be surprisingly playful. What else? You have a pretty difficult personality too. No. Hear me out. That's not everything. You gave me a chance to talk and you listened intently. You can be kind of nice too. We agreed that we live together, not just in the same house, so we got plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me too. This is just the beginning after all. We got a long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other now. Let's not waste any time then. What do you say we do something today that we haven't been able to do before? Where should we begin? Oh, I know. We can get this place cleaned up. Now there's some actual light in here. We can see all sort of things we'd probably rather not. Like dust all over the place. Alright. When the woman's shadow faded away, the master bedroom was transformed back into its old dreary state. Master, can you say my name? You were unsure how to describe the urge of welling up within your breast. You could not say her name. You stood unmoving in the master bedroom for some time, but it did not appear anything else was going to happen. So you decided to head somewhere else. Oh, you think this is the maid's backstory, huh? You returned to your room with the stained glass window. You had searched through the mansion, but had no luck finding the maid. You felt somewhat tired, though. You were not quite sure whether it was the physical exhaustion or otherwise. You had little interest in doing any more moving about. Taking a seat in one of the pews, you gazed up at the stained glass. Staring solemnly down back at you was the archangel set to weigh the souls of the deceased. Perhaps he was trying to weigh your soul. Master. Oh, there you are, Master. You gave me quite the scare. After returning from the third door, you disappeared without a word. Oh my, it was I who disappeared? That is quite strange. I did not go anywhere, as far as I am aware. Nevertheless, I'm glad to have found you. I would have been completely lost for what to do if I had been separated from you yet again. I did indeed say that when you first arrived. I've been waiting for your return for a very long time. For centuries, as a matter of fact. That would make me a ghost, then, you say? I'm very much not a ghost. Would I be able to hold your hand if I were? Saying this, the maid took your hand. It was cold enough to send a shudder down your spine. Though chilling as it may have been, you still took comfort in the feeling of her hand in yours. The maid looked down at you with gentle eyes. After a few moments of silence, she sat down beside you. The stained glass is quite beautiful, is it not? Every time I see it, it brings tranquility to my heart. A dreadful, deep-rooted curse afflicts this mansion. However, this room is the one exception. Can you feel the purity that hangs in the air, Master? Yes, what is it, Master? You are correct. The stained glass window had been shattered and was not present in the time period of the previous tale. I wonder. Perhaps it is because the mansion we are in presently resides in a realm separate from the real world. We are in a world constructed from a myriad of memories and histories. I'm sure that when you regain your old self, Master, the mansion too shall be restored to its original state. So do try and remember, all right? All right. Oh yes, where'd you go in my absence, Master? I see. So you explored the mansion then? And did you find anything noteworthy? Memories. I'm not quite sure what you mean. How peculiar. As a servant of this house, I pride myself in being aware of most everything present within these walls. I wondered whose memories they could be. The key to the master bedroom. Why did I throw away the key? Beg your pardon, you say a painting told you. You can see the perplexity on the maid's face. You've never seen her make such an expression before. I know nothing of any key. Oh, Master, you should not tell jokes meant to cause others discomfort. But about a talking painting, you say? You seem to have rather vivid imagination. Maybe you can tell the next tale, Master. I'm only teasing. Now, that was a nice break, but we should get moving. The tale I'm about to show you is the last of the mansion's memories. I'm certain you will remember yourself after seeing it. To our feet. The final door is not far. And please do not let go of my hand. Holding your hand, the maid led you far into the room. Crossing beneath the stained glass window, a metal door came into view. Our destination lies at the top of these stairs. There we will find one last door. She pushed open the metal door, revealing a long, long spiral staircase. It will be a bit of a walk, so let us be on our way. And please do watch your step. This is called an observation tower. Normally towers such as this were built in castles or churches, so it's rather strange for there to be one in a mansion. The last door I wish to show you, Master, resides at the top of this tower. Rectangular windows were carved out of stone in several locations along the way up the spiral staircase. You turned to peer out of one of the windows, but all you could see was a thick layer of fog. Perhaps the maid's suggestion that the mansion did not presently reside in reality was in fact correct. Yep, they said people found a dead person in the tower. With each step upward, you find yourself gripped by an indescribable sense of anxiety. The feeling somewhat resembling irritation or annoyance. Sensing this, the maid tight gripped her hand. There's nothing to worry about, you will be fine. It's all in the past. No matter what may happen, so as long as you do not let go of my hand, you have nothing to fear. You and the maid continue to climb the tower. Stairs, up and up, around and around, marching ever nearer the supposed final door. High up in the towers, as the light from below grew distant, a rotten wood door came into view. Patches of what appeared to be blood stained the surface, and holes had been bored into it with sharp objects of some sort. You heard screams from far below where no one could have been. Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Burn her! Burn her! You were struck with fear. The next moment the maid opened the door, and then you slowly descended into darkness. The fourth door. $10.99. I'm sorry, we're gonna be leaving off for here tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed our time here and could bear with my voice, as it's probably a bit hard to tell out because I feel like I'm saying everything a little sloppily. Hopefully that'll be fixed by next week. Hopefully. Hey, 80% relatable. Yeah, this is the very end of it. Of well, this stream. Oh, I you know how I got the surgery done? It just feels like like there's a lot of like spit and like ooze in my mouth, and it's like slopping about. That was probably the most disgusting way I could phrase that. Oh, thank you, Pixel. Thanks for the stream, and I'll be putting this on YouTube and the rest of it if anyone you want to catch up or anything. And yeah, maybe next time you can get here on the right time. Thanks for joining, though. 80% reliable. Yeah. So have a good night, everyone. Unless wait, let me just see if there's anyone I want to raid. Oh, Wife City's playing, and they're doing a charity thing for donations to get out. So I think I'm definitely gonna raid them today. Oh, and thank you all. And I was not fishing for praise, but I feel like I should do that more often because it feels nice. All right, thank you so much. And yeah, Next week we'll see what's happening on the fourth door. We've had a lot of conflicting opinions about it, considering, we've been warned that we can't bear our own tragedy. But the painting also said, "Don't trust what she's about to show you." So there's stuff going on. Anyway, thanks everyone, and I hope you have a good night. And say hi to Vice City for me. Win like 8 seconds, I guess. Bye. Have a good night, everyone.